Warning, the following program contains sensitive material that may be unsettling to some audiences. The Pedantic Pedestrians are not responsible for any injuries or paranormal activity that may occur during the viewing of this program, including, and not limited to, whiplash, bipolar disorder, a sprained ankle, or demonic possession. Viewer discretion is advised.
Two guns. Do you want to, encourage people to respect those? So funny, Chad.
When you see people laughing. Nah, like, pause it. What did he say? Whenever it sounds like he said.
We're live.
We are indeed.
So, Shabisky, have you watched Trump's birthday military parade? No?
No. Are we gonna watch that?
Aren't you patriotic? Yeah, we're gonna watch the entire thing.
The
What's
entire
that
thing?
You can't get all wrapped up in the fact that it's Donald Trump's birthday, John. It's Flag Day.
Oh, that's just incidental. Yeah.
No, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I honestly think that it's like, oh, it's my birthday on Flag Day, so I'll just say it's, we're doing it because it's Flag Day, not my birthday. But it happens to be on my birthday. Trump, the great leader.
He's
But
pretty great.
Let's get into the good stuff, the comedy.
The Army
Let's
tells us it
get
expects
right into
thousands
it.
of people to line the streets of D.C. for Saturday's parade. And today, law enforcement outlined a massive security plan to ensure the safety of everyone who is here.
Ooh.
Yeah, that's right. Tonight, fencing is up at Lafayette Park near the White House. You can see by
Yeah,
Saturday,
they got to
will
make
put up
sure that, like, somebody doesn't try to snipe the president again. Wouldn't it be good if that happened?
18.5 miles of fence panels near the National Mall and the parade route along Constitution Avenue.
During the parade, officers will be in uniform and undercover. They'll be watching for threats at the street level and from above.
You may also notice multiple drones operating in the area. These are great tools for law enforcement situational awareness and part of our layered security strategy. Rest assured, all drones will be owned and operated by the Secret Service or our partners. So please.
When do you think we're going to have drones that, like, act as surveillance? They're just flying around in the streets. You're like taking a piss, and then there's just some government drone that's like hovering right outside your window, taking snapshots of you and everything. You're walking to work, and you just have drone with their oculi just hovering around you, taking screenshots.
I give it two months. 2 months, and everything.
There
will
will only be one security entrance for the festival. One.
Wow.
And 2 security entrances for
Yeah,
the
people
parade.
who just get so desensitized to it that it's like they don't think anything of it. They just become like squirrels and sparrows.
The evening. We'll have details on exactly where those are along the National Mall on WUSA9.com.
Oh, yeah.
This
Hell
is
yeah.
the Trump parade.
Wait, you
How'd
mixed
this
this
get
up
in
with the
there?
wrong playlist, John.
Oh, yeah.
That's a cool
Close.
Trump parade right there. I like it.
Well, I didn't know there were this many, like, Asian Americans in the military.
Trump parade.
Okay, but...
Wait.
What?
No, hold up. Wait, look at John. This
I guess
isn't
the wrong
Trump
country.
parade. No, there were way more tanks at the Trump parade.
Well,
Yeah.
do you think we're going to have Trump statues being paraded around?
That'd be I'd say I would prefer that to a tank. Isn't that
There'll
crazy?
be, like, Melania and Trump, big giant gold statues.
One tank. Oh, several tanks.
Yeah, these are a lot of
America
things.
had more, better tanks. Is the audio
I think this is
crackly
the
and
wrong
shitty
country
for-
again. Oh, this is Minsk.
Oh, yeah, I gotta
I
say.
hear what is it, Belarus? They're known for being like one of the most democratic European nations. 45 million well spent. Exactly. Do you think Trump spent his own money on the parade?
I'd say it's possible. John, is the audio crackly on this for you too? You may just want
Yeah.
to mute it if that's the case. Oh, shitty.
Well, I don't know. Do you think they don't have a lot of tanks and everything? I don't know. It seems kind of underwhelming. Let's see how awesome the Trump parade is.
Oh,
But here's
speech.
Demonstration for a little bit. But we'll forget all about that.
okay. Here's the speech to the troops. So,
and there is the
a large percentage of people that serve in the military are conservative. Why do you think that is?
Because they're the ones that have the balls to die for this country, John.
Yeah, they're the
Or do you
heroes
think
in this country, unlike those fucking
that they're,
libtard pussies.
Do you think maybe there's a lot of jarheads in the military? Maybe I'm not being patriotic. Well, the thing is, I do find that people that are so obsessed with the military and military status, it's like they don't really seem to care about other elements of like measuring a country's greatness, like scientific advancement and like academic like accomplishments and so forth. They seem to care more about who has the bigger guns. It's who's got the greater military tech sort of dick measuring contest. And I think a lot of them, they kind of don't want the world to get along. They kind of want this sort of divided sort of status between nations where we get to brag to the other nations about having a stronger military. And they seem to want the world to continue to be divided through borders. I don't think a lot of them are pro-globalists.
Yeah, that's pussy shit.
And also, they don't just believe what the media tells them, because it's not like people that are all patriotic, they're obsessed with the flag and the military, are just a bunch of stormtroopers that seem to just not be able to think outside of tradition.
right now in Fort Bragg, North Carolina.
They're all about pledging allegiance to whoever the great our great leaders are.
Live now from Fox's, he's set to make remarks.
Whoever it is, I love them.
So Sharon Andrews says, "Oh, you know it all, don't you?" Yeah, I do. I know everything. I think I know everything, and I clearly do know everything. Thanks for pointing out the obvious.
John may be the most humble man alive.
You can see the traditional there music of walking up. God bless America. God bless the USA is his normal walk-up song there. As you can see, plenty of people in the crowd right now. This is a almost campaign-looking style event there in Fort Bragg.
I'd like Trump more if he kept using the 50 cent many.
Yeah, if he came out to 50 Cent, I would have a lot more respect.
He used it coming out like at a speech or something like that.
All right, fine. That's 2 points to Trump.
Well, he's buddies with Kanye, so maybe he could choose some of Kanye's new songs and Kanye's new album.
Yeah, the Hail, you know what?
Himmler?
I don't know. You think Trump?
Dude.
I don't think. Maybe you think they're still friends behind closed door? Because I know he ain't.
Yeah, I don't think Trump. That's like a killer for like a Trump relationship is.
Yeah,
producing an album where one of the songs has the chorus, N-word, howl, Himmler.
If anything, he probably hit him up the next day and it's like, hey, let's go out to dinner.
Dude, let's celebrate your new album. Some of the best like songs, best lyrics
I bought
I've ever
50
heard.
of them. I loved them.
No one loves the lyrics better than I do.
No one appreciates your music more than I do, Kanye.
But do you know what his favorite song is? Yeah.
What?
YMCA.
You're shitting me.
No, I am not joking.
On record. He's on record saying it's the most.
Yes, he has said that, and at the end of his first term, like when he's like, "Yeah, I'm not going to go to Biden's inauguration," he was the first president to be a big baby and like not go to the inauguration of the like seceding president. He had like a send off where there was like a firing squad that did the gun salute, and then he walked onto the plane playing YMCA. Dude, that is such a fucking dorky song.
Yeah, the fact that I don't know. I feel like when he says stuff like that, to me it just feels like a person trying to relate to the public. Like,
No.
Like,
if you're trying to relate to the public, you don't pick such a generic song that is like ear rape to most people.
that was a really big song, Gene. Okay.
Yeah, it's a big song, but I think most people
I love it.
aren't big fans of it.
Song.
I love it.
I love
Oh yeah, you love it more than anybody, even Trump.
More than
And so that will
anybody.
be what we'll be covering in just a few days on Saturday. Full coverage here on Live Now, Fox Live, Raw, and Unfiltered. So, of course, this is obviously another major event. You've got some demonstrations, some components of that parade on full display in full effect.
Oh God, he is so fucking cringe.
Here on here is it's just about 4:30 local time on the ground on the East Coast. So we'll see what he has to say, speaking to some of the service members there on the ground at this base. So you can see him kind of waving at people, pointing at different individuals, different American flags there at the ready, signs up here, talking about this 250th anniversary. Now stepping to the microphone here momentarily after this long walk down this aisle toward the stage, toward the microphone.
Let's hear what he has to say to the heroes of our country.
Some of the service members singing in the background. Let's listen in here on Live Now from Fox as President Trump steps to the microphone to speak to all of these people there at Fort Bragg in North Carolina. Let's listen in.
Do you think we'll get copyright?
It's sped up.
Yeah.
God bless the USA.
Look at them all holding the American flags.
Yay.
Yeah. America!
I don't know. A lot of them are holding their phone.
Wait. Our buddy Sharon in the chat says, so are you and ignorant?
Yes. And you?
Do they know what, like, ignorant means? I have a feeling if you ask them, they don't even know what the definition of that word is. Do you think so? I know I discuss these statistics a lot, but how in red states, people are less educated. There's lower
Hey,
academic
Mickey Richards
attainment,
is here.
and they have. Okay, Shab, shut the fuck up. I'm talking.
Sorry.
They're less educated, and there's much higher rates of illiteracy. Do you think, based on how they typed up that sentence?
So mean.
Do you think maybe they're not that well educated and their level of literacy is pretty
It was
low?
an accident, Gene.
So are you and ignorant?
I think you're being a grammar Kanye.
You're being and ignorant.
Okay, it's one thing to use like the wrong variation of where or there. I mean, it's one thing to have like a typo, but I mean, that is just pathetic. It's not even a long sentence. They don't know how to just read over something and be like, does this make sense at all grammatically? And notice how all the other like people in our chat are able to type up much longer responses where it's more grammatically correct in a much shorter amount of time. I don't know. They seem pretty limited. So are you an ignorant dirt?
I think maybe you tried this. So here's my dissection, John. Why I think you're being
all ignorant with me.
No, I think maybe you made some statement, and they're trying to say, so are you, and you're ignorant.
You being all ignorant with me.
I'm getting a little ignorant.
You ignorant motherfucker.
Damn. I missed you, Mickey.
Wow.
I missed you, babe.
That's a beautiful sight, and it's a beautiful sight to be with you in a place called Fort Bragg. Can you believe they changed that name in the last administration for a little bit? But we'll forget all about that. We're gonna forget all about that.
Look at the dude bro brigade.
Just say God bless the U.S. Army and God bless the USA. Great place.
Yeah, God bless.
I want to thank so many incredible soldiers and paratroopers, pilots, warriors for that awesome display of pure, unrivaled American military might. I just saw something that was crazy. You don't want to mess.
All right.
I've been saying a lot.
I like this one.
Nobody
Sorry, it's a good one from the chat. A little gem from our buddy Cud and Craig who says, you have a bug out bag for when the boogeyman comes so you can go hide out in the woods. LOL. At the joke you weirdo cult losers are.
Yeah, because we're a bunch of like I guess cult weirdos because all the people
doomsday
Trump,
preppers.
You can't say the same thing about them because they think for themselves. They don't just blindly believe anything Ben Shapiro or Steven Crowder. any of those assholes say to them. They don't just believe everything on Fox News. It's the left that believe everything they hear from the left-wing media, but clearly they're not dumbasses because they have a lot of self-awareness. Because obviously their side doesn't do that.
But they just gave me a display that you might be lucky not to see it, because it's a little scary. It was beautiful to watch. Let's hear it for the Army Special Operations and Command and the 82nd Airborne Division and the 18th Airborne Corps. What a show it was, and what a show it continues to be. And Saturday...
Look at all the bootlickers, the stormtroopers, the sycophants in the background.
Do that. I say, yeah, we do. We want to show off a little bit.
They're protecting our country. Yes.
Celebrated the victory of World War I. France was
Ain't no jarheads.
We're all celebrating. The only one that doesn't celebrate is
Craig, I think you got us all wrong, buddy.
Without us, you don't.
I don't know what you've heard us say that leads you to believe we think one thing or another about this individual speaking, but that's crazy. Are we the cultists? You're the one making assumptions, dude.
Maybe a little Japanese thrown in, but we won the war. And we don't celebrate, but we're going to celebrate on Saturday, and we're going to celebrate from now on.
Okay, so what war is he saying we won?
The war.
I was distracted by Greg. The war.
He's speaking German right now.
We won the war.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe
World War II.
Japanese thrown in, but we won the war. And we don't celebrate, but we're going to celebrate on Saturday, and we're going to
America saved the world. It was 100% America, because no other powers had anything to do with, like, defeating the Axis powers in World War II.
From now on, we're going to celebrate our greatness and our achievements. This week, we honor 250 years of valor and glory and triumph by the greatest fighting force ever to walk the face of the earth, the United States Army.
Yes.
For 2.5 centuries, our soldiers have marched into the raging fire of battle.
Wait, he said army, doesn't mean military. I think it's...
He's at an army base.
Yeah, he's at an army base, but I believe
He's
it's our
catering
Air Force that really gives us the bulk of our military strength. Same thing with the Navy.
He said walk the land.
Oh, okay.
America's enemies has never been anything like it. There's never been a force like this. And I rebuilt it. I gave you so much money for 4 years. It was crazy. And we just approved.
Look at that one guy in the background.
Dude, he looks geeked.
Budget for military operations, over $1 trillion. We've never even come close. But our army is smashed.
What a dork.
Foreign empires, humbled kings, toppled tyrants.
Yeah, trash foreign empires.
Hunted terrorist savages through the very gates of hell. Our soldiers do not rest until they win. You know that better than anybody. From June 1775 to June 2025, those...
So when we're talking about trashing foreign empires, I think the last time you can say that we actually trashed a foreign empire was World War II with the Japanese Empire and like Nazi Germany. So I don't know, like we weren't really established as a military power until post World War II. And do you know who was the president in office for most of World War II? Wasn't he like Franklin Roosevelt? And what particular political party did he support? Like, isn't he known as like the president who kind of defines like the modern sort of democratic like party and its principles with like the New Deal? And then he was succeeded by Truman, who was also like a Democrat. It was his VP. So yeah, he's acting like, yeah, America, we trash all these empires and stuff. It's well, if based on their logic, I mean, it was Franklin Roosevelt, who's one of the most like idolized Democrats. He was the one responsible for a lot of the victory in World War II. But I guess that's just a myth.
Challenge America's army. I've been met with unyielding strength, unbreakable spirit, and unstoppable, overwhelming force. Time and again, our enemies have learned that if you dare to threaten the American people, American soldier will chase you down, crush you, and cast you into oblivion.
Crush you, he'll fucking curb stomp you, chase you down and fucking curb stomp you, but you fucking fuck with America! Oh!
Franklin Roosevelt praised fascism for its public planning. You want to present an argument for that? I mean, there are fucked up things that he did, like creating all those prison camps for Japanese, American citizens. But I have a feeling, do you think your right-leaning sort of Americans would be against something like that?
Yeah, I don't know.
And that's the problem. A lot of the fucked up things Franklin Roosevelt did, ironically, are probably a lot of the things that people on the right would support.
It's
a party switch,
but
John.
It's true, isn't it? The last sound you ever
What's
hear.
that?
It's part of the party switch that happens, John. You know.
So when people try to argue, Oppenheimer and Einstein, a lot of the scientists where their work went into creating the nuclear bomb, a lot of them didn't like the fact that it was actually dropped on the cities. And if you talk about how, maybe they should have gone about it a bit differently, it's usually people on the right that are like, nope, they had to nuke the cities.
Here will be the fueling howl of Black Hawks in the dead of night, the thunderous boom of artillery fire, or the ferocious roar of a U.S. Army infantry brigade charging over the horizon. That brigade is going to charge like you've never seen before, and hopefully I can keep you out of that, but if I don't, you're ready. Is that right? If I can keep you out of it. If I keep you out of it, that's okay, but if we need it, you're ready. It's called peace through strength, isn't it?
Peace through strength.
For our adversaries, there's no greater fear than the United States Army. They all fear us, and we have the greatest force anywhere on earth. You read different stories that others are building and building and building.
Oh, yeah, and we've done great things with that force, because in Afghanistan, that wasn't a waste of money. That wasn't a big boondoggle where, I don't know, what did we achieve? Having our troops, engaging in terrorist investigative, overseas operations for the span of 10 years. I mean, I don't think we really accomplished a whole lot.
We have a force like no other. They said it would take 5 years to defeat ISIS. We did it in 4 weeks. 4 weeks. We let them go. Unlike other of your leaders, I let them go. And
I don't think ISIS is still around. They weren't defeated in 4 weeks. ISIS is still engaged in a massive ground war with the Taliban in Afghanistan, and recently they've still been conducting terrorist attacks in Lebanon and Syria. So ISIS isn't defeated. They're still a thing.
They think because they killed one of them, they're like, I think this one's the queen. If we kill it, all the other ones will die.
Yeah, that's how it works.
General Raisin Kane, who's now the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff.
But hey, Trump said it, and I'm sure they're not all a bunch of sheep, because I'm sure the people calling us sheep, as soon as Trump said that, they're like, yeah, he said it, so it's true. The Democrats don't know how to deal with ISIS. It's well, both parties haven't really dealt with them because they still exist.
Because I liked him. He was a warrior. He was a great warrior, and now he's been rewarded for his incredible work. But they said it would take 5 years, and we did it in 4 weeks. Someday I'm going to ask him to explain that one to me. But it was the television generals that said that. The real generals got out and fought. And
okay, so our buddy Jim in the chat, listen to those sore losers. We don't support Kamala. We didn't support either candidate. And maybe you're a dumb fuck who has no critical thinking. The fact that as soon as you see somebody criticizing Trump, you automatically assume that they support the other side, which kind of shows how you think in a black and white, all or nothing manner. And maybe you should, listen to what they have to say for more than a couple seconds before you jump to all of these, baseless conclusions. So it's almost like you're a fucking retard. Trump won, keep crying. We're doing news coverage, so explain how you're not a moron, where we've been engaging in news coverage during the entirety of the Biden administration, and we had nothing but negative things to say about Biden. So based on your logic, again, I like how this needs to be explained to them. Whenever particular journalists from the opposing party cover politicians of the opposite party, they're just crying. So I guess the entire time Biden or Obama was in office, Ben Shapiro was just crying the entire time. He couldn't handle losing. Fox News is just crying the entire time. And again, if you're not able to process that or recognize that giant hole in your logic, it kind of shows that, you're not that bright. You're kind of a failure when it comes to critical thinking.
Them ever. But for the American people, there's no greater pride because you are the righteous sword of...
Yeah, that's all well and good, John.
Play video games.
Yeah, or lose your virginity.
Yeah.
Take your pick.
God. You know they're a very well-educated person because, again, that's not the kind of rhetoric you expect from a 12-year-old kid on 4chan.
And what's wrong with playing video games?
Justice and the ultimate...
Yeah. Well, I don't play a lot of video games. That's the thing. I play video games less than, like, most adults my age.
I play it more than most
American freedom. This week we remember that we only have a country because we first had an army. The army was first. In fact, the army was even before the country. You know that, right? 1 year before the country. After 250 years, we still proudly declare that we are free because you are strong. You are so strong. We're safe because you are brave, and America's flag will never fall because America's army will never, ever fail. Gonna fail.
Our military has definitely failed in the past. I don't know if he's aware of this, but there's this one war called Vietnam. I mean, do you think we did a good job in Vietnam?
Of course we did. We're America.
I don't think so. And then, yeah, in Afghanistan, I don't think we did a great job there either. So I don't think you could really say that we were victorious in our fight against the Taliban. So the fact that we have the strongest military on the planet, yet they weren't able to take out this terrorist regime that pretty much had no, like, advanced military tech, and they were all hiding out in a bunch of mountains and tunnels. And yet we were there for over a decade and weren't able to actually take out a group such as the Taliban. So I don't know. It seems like our military does have a lot of blunders.
Every branch of the armed forces has played a critical role in protecting our nation, but no one has done more fighting, bleeding, and winning than the U.S. Army. Nobody's done that. The Army has earned more combat medals and more battle ribbons than any other service, and 70% of all of the medals of honor. We give away medals of honor all the time at the White House to incredibly brave people, but you have 70% of them. Army soldiers, and especially our Army paratroopers, truly go all the way. You know that expression, all the way.
Okay, so I don't know how, like, these accolades work and so forth, if it's, like, different per branch, but if that's how it works, then that just means that the Army gives out more medals and ribbons compared to the other branches. So maybe that shows that the bar is higher if you're serving in other branches of the military, like the Marines or the Air Force or the Navy.
Yeah.
Hey, it's one of your beautiful...
Maybe they're giving out a bunch of participation trophies.
Yeah.
As President of the United States, let me express my undying gratitude to our nation for every soldier here today, for every veteran and their families, those incredible families that are with us and all across America, and for...
Oh, somebody said, did Trump collude with Russia in winning the 2016 election? I don't know. Every single fucking election, the opposite side likes to accuse the other side of having some kind of, like, engaging some kind of meddling with a foreign power. During Obama's second term, they, like, accused him of, like, collaborating with China, or China interfered with the elections. During Trump's first term, they claimed that Russia interfered, and then same old. They claimed the election was stolen from Trump. During his, I guess, second, like, campaign. So who knows? Everything's a conspiracy. I think the reptilians were behind it.
Yeah.
Every patriot who has worn the uniform over 250 years. Can you imagine that?
It's the Night Walkers that live on the opposite side of the flat earth. They were the ones that colluded, stuffed all the ballots.
Gathered today. Yeah. The one and only Fort Bragg. The one and only Fort Bragg. But remember, it was only that little brief moment that it wasn't called Fort Bragg. It was by the Biden administration, not Trump. I had nothing to do with it. We got it changed. We said, you know, I came here numerous times and they kept saying Fort Bragg, Fort Bragg. I said, you know, it's not the name, but then I was making a speech. I said, what do you think I should call this place? Call it Fort Bragg. I said, Fort Bragg, how you doing? We won a lot of battles from this place, and that's the way it is. It wasn't even close. When Pete and some of the generals came to see me, I said, not even close, not even close. This is the home of the Green Berets, the Sky Dragons, and the All-American 82nd Airborne. We know what 82nd Airborne Division is. This is where the GIs
I think we should watch the entire thing.
Second World War learned to pack their
played on double speed,
push howitzers, and go right into those C-47s with lots of arms and push them right out those big, beautiful doors and wield their bayonets and pry the enemy from the hedgerows of the French.
It's honestly way more digestible. He speaks very slowly.
What's that?
It's honestly way more digestible this way. He speaks very slowly.
Yeah. Why do you think he speaks so slow? Do you think it's because of his fan base? Do you think he's doing it to accommodate for people? Or do you think he needs to speak slowly?
White heel. Everything I say is white.
It was here in the soil that the army forged the metal that held strong at best home.
Okay, so he's talking about France. So I was discussing probably learning how to speak French, and my one friend's parent who's a big conservative is like, oh, France, they've lost every war. They lost Vietnam, they lost World War II, and when I was talking to him, I'm like, we lost Vietnam as well.
Oh no,
every country in Europe except for Britain lost World War II. They took over all of Europe, like Nazi Germany. But it's just, is that the only way to measure a country's worth? Is its military accomplishments? How many countries it was able to vest in war? So it seems like these are the kind of people where violence and beating other people in fights, that's the only measurement of worth. And then he's like, oh, name anything that France has offered to the world. And I'm like, well, there was Louis Pasteur, who came up with the vaccine for rabies, and he came up with the germ theory. He's the one that discovered that germs make people sick. There's Anton Lavoisier, the founder of chemistry, and Marie Curie, who came up with X-ray technology. And then he's just like, well, that's all older stuff. It's like, yeah, okay.
Here, the mighty paratroopers earned their wings before they rained down death from above to liberate Sicily, Normandy, and even the Netherlands. That's right. We saved the Netherlands. Every inch of this base is steeped in the legacy of the warriors.
This one person says, France would be speaking Germany if not for U.S.
Speaking Germany.
They show their high level of literacy there.
Who have said with pride, sir, I trained at Fort Bragg, sir. That was pretty cool. And that is why we restored the historic name of this very, very special place. It'll be the same place.
Whoa.
Fort Bragg
what the fuck?
That's the name. And Fort Bragg, it shall always remain. That's never going to be happening again.
News, dude.
And for a little news for the fake news back there, the fake news. Ladies and gentlemen, look at them. Look at them all. Oh, yeah, what I have to put up with. Fake news. What I have to put up with. But they're all right. They've been very nice today. They were impressed with that display, I can tell you that. And they took them a little by surprise. But for a little breaking news, we are also going to be restoring the names to Fort Pickett, Fort Hood, Fort Gordon, Fort Rucker, Fort Polk, Fort A.P. Hill,
Fort Polk,
and Fort Robert E. Lee.
Ooh, you know who Polk is?
Tell me.
James K. Polk.
Yeah.
He was the president during the Mexican-American War. That makes him an exceptional president.
Yeah.
He built he had a base built on the Mexican border to provoke the Mexican army into attacking the U.S. as an excuse to go in and invade Mexico.
A lot of battles out of those forts. It's no time to change. I'm superstitious, you know.
And then I know Zachary Taylor, who succeeded James K. Polk. He was a very successful, a general who won a lot of the big battles in the Mexican-American War. And then when he became president, he didn't really do much as president.
Gene,
but I'm sure if you talk to Trump, he would know all this stuff. He would really know his history of all the presidents.
I'm very superstitious. We want to keep it going. So that's a big story. We just announced that today to you for the first time. They said, why didn't you wait till Saturday? I said, I can't wait. I got to talk to my friends here today. This is a record crowd. You never had a crowd.
Wait, so our buddy Jim says, damn, you need to read. So is my history wrong? About James K. Polk and the Mexican-American War?
You think this crowd would have showed up for Biden? I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to thank so many great leaders here today, including Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, who's been great. By the way, Pete, thank you. And he went through the wars, you know? Pete went through the wars. He had to get through a very hostile group of people that I think really don't want to see America be great again, maybe, or something. But he persevered, and he got there, and he's doing a fantastic job. Great job, Pete. Thank you very much. Secretary of Veterans Affairs, Doug Collins, a fantastic man. Thank you, Doug. You're doing a great job. Doing a great job. Way up from the last administration, Veterans Administration.
An
amazing way up from some of the recent
job.
People are happy. They weren't happy a couple of years ago. They were really happy 5 years ago. But it went downhill from there. We did so much. We got you medical. If you had to wait, if you had to delay at all, you go out to see a private doctor.
Oh, they weren't talking to me.
And end up getting very sick.
I guess, who were they talking to?
And something that could have been done with a little shot or a pill. We did that. Then they wanted to drop that. I said, we're not dropping it. But Doug, I'm proud of you. I just heard some great things. Thank you very much.
Oh, and another sign that you're talking to somebody who's quite the intellectual when they have to use like laughing emojis instead of coming up with any sort of coherent argument. And notice how all of our mods, like Skeppy or Nicholas Rosa, they're able to easily type up like a complete complex sentence at once. Like it's nothing, but then it's like he can only type up a few words at a time and at a much slower rate. And he has to do things like just spam the laughing emojis. And it's kind of funny how a lot of these Trump tards, they all make the exact same arguments and the exact same kind of crass and rote manner. I mean, add some variety to your discourse. It's like, you're a genius when you disagree with people by just spamming laughing emojis. It really shows that you have a lot to say.
The Secretary of the Army, a really brilliant young guy, went to Yale, can't have everything. Top student, Dan Driscoll. Thank you. Thank you, Dan.
Thanks, Dan.
And we have your senators, Senator Ted Budd and Senator Tom Tillis. Thank you, fellas. Congressman Richard Hudson, Pat Harrigan. Where's Pat? Pat? Good, Pat. You're doing great. You guys are amazing. And we have the big brass. General Andrew Pappas. General, thank you. Thank you, General. Doing a great job. General John Braja. John, thank you. Great job. Thank you for today, John. General Greg Anderson. Thank you. Thank you, Greg. Thank you. Sergeant Major of the Army, Michael Weimer. And before going further, I want to say a few words about the situation in Los Angeles, California. Have you heard of it?
Oh, here we go.
We have deployed thousands of National Guard troops and hundreds of Marines to protect federal law enforcement from the attacks of a vicious and violent mob. And some of the radical left, they say, oh, that's not nice. Well, we didn't do it. It wouldn't be in Los Angeles. It'd be burning today, just like the houses were burning.
Okay, so I do agree that a lot of people who are rioting, they were like destroying random people's vehicles, people who have nothing to do with ICE and everything. There were people throwing bricks off the bridges. So a lot of people were engaging in misconduct that definitely wasn't productive. And that definitely, I think, if you're throwing bricks at people's cars, you probably should face criminal charges. I mean, you definitely are putting people at great risk of serious injury or even death. But I don't think LA would be gone and completely burnt to the ground. Riots happen all the time. This isn't even like the most significant riot that America has faced in the last decade. So that's just retarded, saying that if he didn't send in the National Guard, that the whole city would just be like complete and total rubble or a pile of rubble.
A number of months ago, generations of Army heroes did not shed their blood on distant shores only to watch our country be destroyed by invasion and third world lawlessness here at home, like is happening in California. As Commander-in-Chief, I will not let that happen. It's never going to happen.
God.
What you're witnessing in California is a
he really cares about the people.
He does.
An assault on peace, on public order, and on national sovereignty carried out by rioters bearing foreign flags with the aim of continuing a foreign invasion of our country. We're not going to let that happen. Remember, millions of people were allowed to come into our country totally unchecked and unvetted by stupid people.
It's an invasion because clearly they're forming coups, they're infiltrating the government. There's clearly an invasion taking place here because do you think they're creating a lot of unrest? Because isn't it like people who are illegal immigrants commit less crimes on average than legal immigrants, and legal immigrants commit less crimes on average than natural-born citizens? I mean, do you think the lawlessness that is very small relative to their population compared to the population of legal citizens, do you think that's creating, or do you think that's a catalyst for the largest amount of unrest in the country? I think there's probably a lot of other things that are causing a lot of instability in the country that probably deserve a lot more attention. But it seems like they just want to hyper-focus on immigration, because I think they just kind of don't like non-white people being in the country.
Radical left people or sick people. But regardless, open border policy, the dumbest policy, yet I would say even dumber than men playing in women's sports, transgender for everyone. Even dumber than that. They're hurling bricks and cinder blocks at law enforcement. Did you see they're breaking up the sidewalks and the curbs, breaking it up with big, strong hammers? These guys are professionals. These are not amateurs. They're breaking it up because they took the bricks away.
Okay, so somebody's like 20 million people is an invasion. How is it an invasion? Because I don't think a lot of illegal immigrants are coordinating with one another. I don't think they have some particular chief of staff or some kind of hierarchy. I think a lot of them are just different families that are not really colluding with other families of immigrants when we have illegal immigrants from all over the globe. And America isn't the only fucking country that has millions of illegal immigrants living in it. So based on this logic, like any large country with a very large population is being invaded by, like, I guess the illegals. And I think that's just plain semantics. You're using that term a bit too loosely.
Away from them. They came in with bricks, red bricks, that they could throw at our military and at the police in LA.
The Brick Brigade.
They weren't aggressive like our soldiers. Our soldiers really were aggressive, but they all worked together. But they came in with bricks, they would take it away, and they had hammers. Oh, wow, how did that happen? And they're pounding the sidewalk. I said, what the hell is he doing? And he's breaking it up and making it into concrete.
Oh my God. Like, see, like conservatives, they know how to be civil. They don't engage in unrest. Like, we totally didn't see that when Trump lost against Biden. I mean, clearly, they dealt with it in a very humane, very adult manner. They didn't raid the Capitol or anything.
It's true.
It's not like he pardoned all of these people involved in a riot before, because Trump doesn't endorse, like, criminal behavior. I mean, Trump has a very clean record. It's not like he's been charged and found guilty of countless crimes. And it's not like some of the people he's pardoned went on and engaged in murder afterwards.
Bombs in a way, and they're dropping them on our military. They're throwing them at our military. Pretty good arms they had, too. Hits guys right in the face.
You're very naive and uninformed, John.
What's that?
Oh, Mary says you are so naive and uninformed.
Yeah, and I'm sure they're well informed.
Clearly.
Dropping them in the cars that are going by. These are animals. But they proudly carry the flags of other countries, but they don't carry the American flag. They only burn it. Did you see a lot of the flags being burned? They weren't being burned by people from our country or from people that love our country. People that burn the American flag should go to jail for 1 year. That's what they should be doing. 1 year.
Okay, so aren't they pro freedom of speech, but yet they want people locked up for burning the American flag? So it's like, if people are going to accuse others of being fascist, like Roosevelt, I'd say that's pretty fascist, where it's like you burn the flag and then you spend time in prison. It's like, explain how that doesn't go against freedom of speech.
And we'll see if we can get that done. We're going to try and get that done. We're working with some of your senators. I know Senator Josh Hawley is very much involved, and I know the 2 senators from here. I think are you guys in favor of it? Why would this be a bad time for them to say no? I got those 2 votes. The agitators are throwing firebombs, Molotov cocktails, lighting vehicles ablaze, destroying cars that were burning, mobbing police officers, and
What's
Can I
that?
make a poll in the chat for whether people think people should go to jail if they burn the flag? I was thinking we should do that recently, and now seems like the perfect time.
Okay. Create the poll.
officers who are the toughest people you'll ever meet, and they love our country. They're getting really tried to. They want
don't you have the ability to do it?
I guess I do.
And attempting to infiltrate and occupy federal buildings wearing armor and face shields. The best money can buy, somebody's financing it. We're going to find out through Pam Bondi and Department of Justice who it is. They're already on it. Who's financing all this equipment? Very professional. Under the Trump administration, this anarchy will not stand. We will not allow federal agents to be attacked, and we will not allow an American city to be invaded and conquered by a foreign enemy. That's what they are. A lot of those people were let in here by the Biden administration. They just poured right in. They came from prisons. They came from jails from all over the world. They came from mental institutions. They were the leaders of gangs. They were drug lords allowed to come into our country. Their countries threw them out. Their countries would bus them or drive them right to our border and say, go in.
Oh, okay. So I had to scroll up, or I had to refresh my chat. The Mary B says that 80% of Americans support deporting all the illegals. So where'd you get that number from? So you're talking about us being ill-informed. I wonder where you heard that from. And I have a feeling that if you got it from a particular source, did you cross-reference it? Did you look into it to try to verify whether it was accurate and what the actual sample size was of the people that they polled? So I'm sure you're somebody that really knows how to follow through with credible research.
Come back, we're gonna kill you. And we got him, and we're getting him out of here.
Should someone go to prison for burning the American flag? Should I have put jail instead of prison? Does that matter?
Well, I guess, what is it? If you're sentenced to prison for more than a year, or I think it's a year and a half, then that's prison.
It depends. You can serve longer sentences in a jailhouse.
Yeah.
Well, it's a case-by-case kind of thing.
Should I change it
to protect federal property and personnel?
Just change it so people who want to be pedantic stop crying.
This is the
and uphold
Pedantic Pedestrian
supremacy of federal law. That's what they're doing. They're protecting our ICE agents. They're protecting the police in Los Angeles. The head of the police in Los Angeles, a good man. I hear a good man, but he was actually saying we really did need this help. It had gotten away from them. It had long gotten away. And we gave it to them. Not only are these service members defending the honest citizens of California, they're also defending our republic itself. And they are heroes. They're in there, they're heroes. They're fighting for us. They're stopping an invasion just like you'd stop an invasion. The big difference is most of the time when you stop an invasion, they're wearing a uniform. In many ways, it's tougher when they're not wearing a uniform because you don't know exactly who they are. In Los Angeles, the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles, they're incompetent. And they paid troublemakers, agitators, and insurrectionists. They're engaged in this willful attempt to nullify federal law and aid the occupation of the city by criminal invaders. That's what it is. They're invaders, no different. Their position is that the rioting will not stop unless ICE withdraws from Los Angeles and ceases the enforcement of federal immigration law. In other words, they came in here illegally. Many of them came out of prisons and jails, the most heinous people. They came.
Okay, so he's saying many of them came out of prisons and jails. Again, it's a very, very, very small percentage of illegal immigrants that are committing crimes. Unless you want to play the stupid game of like, well, they're here illegally. Which, if that's the case, then Trump, like, do you care that he was found guilty of over a dozen like crimes?
No, that was fake news.
Yeah.
That was fake news.
The average American breaks like 3 laws a day if you're gonna consider things like traffic violations or like people pirating data on the internet. So are you one of those people where it's like if you break any laws at all, then that's it? There's no nuance.
You just believe anything you're told, don't you, fucking libtard, huh?
Yeah.
Huh.
I mean, can't Trump find anything original to say?
And then Trump
clearly they don't engage in groupthink when they're just regurgitating the same shit over and over again. But I do like how, like, with the right-wing media, they do like to be very selective when it comes to the sort of arrests that they're making with ICE and everything, because I don't think the majority of the immigrants are, like, part of cartels. I think it's actually a very, very, very small percentage. So it seems as if they're just going out of their way to, like, cover selectively, it's selective journalism, the most heinous criminals that there are, which in any demographic, whether it's legal citizens or illegal citizens, it's they're going to be like criminals. Any demographic, you're going to have people who break the law. So based on that logic, it's like, what about people who are left-handed? I guess if we can find examples of left-handed people committing murder or engaging in some kind of robbery, then you know what? We should deport all left-handed people. Because, hey, we can find anecdotes, we can find examples of people in a group committing a crime. Therefore, that must mean that this is the entire group. That must mean that it's associated with everyone in this demographic.
All over the world. They came from the Congo in Africa. They came from Asia. They came from the prisons of these places. They were put into the United States and allowed to stay here because we had a grossly, grossly unfit president who listened to whoever was operating the auto pen. And they allowed these people to stay. And by the way, I've known this guy for a long time. He was never the sharpest bulb. But you know what he was? He wasn't a radical left lunatic. He never dreamt about open borders. He never said that when he was of sound mind, which actually was a very long time ago. So sad what they've done to our country. I will say that without question, however, you're seeing the financial numbers. We've now got the hottest country anywhere in the world. And 6 months ago, it was the coldest country. We're being laughed at all over the world. I was in Saudi Arabia, Qatar, UAE. We brought back $5.1 trillion into our country. And all three leaders, they're great leaders, all three said, you know, you are presiding over the hottest country anywhere in the world. And they said the exact same thing. They said 6.
So now he's going to deny climate change because we all know there isn't any science that verifies that it is a serious issue. I'm sure everything he's saying here is scientifically accurate. I don't think we're the hottest country in the fucking world.
No, he means hottest like we're the most popular because that's all he fucking cares about is ego and fucking being the most, you know, important or whatever.
We're cool. People like us. They want to be Americans.
Change on a date. You know what November 5th was? It was the election of a president that loves you. And that's when it all changed. That's when it all changed.
Oh, that's the difference.
Within the span of
Donald Trump loves me.
From being one of
See, y'all hate in the chat, but Donald Trump loves me.
To being a trash heap.
He loves me more. He loves me more.
Transnational gangs and criminal networks. It's horrible what's happened so quickly. As the entire world can now see, uncontrolled migration leads to chaos, dysfunction, and disorder. And you know what?
Chaos.
In Europe too. It's happening
been
in many of the
fucking
countries of Europe.
chaotic.
They don't like it when I say it, but I'll say it loudly and clearly. They better do something.
It was because of the illegal immigrants. It's not him having a bunch of people arresting them for no good reason or without due process. It has nothing to do with that. It's because of the fucking illegal immigrants, man.
And if they weren't cracking down on it, I mean, a lot of the people who really hate illegal immigrants, do they come across any crimes on a daily basis? Is it, I don't know what it's like throughout the rest of the country, but are they leaving their homes and it's as if they're living in some dystopian sort of film where you look to your left and another building is being blown up, and then you look to your right and there's just somebody being mugged, and it's all the illegals.
It's like, I mean, fucking clearly Gaza, dude, up in America. Like the whole fucking country is like Gaza because all these fucking illegals here, fucking everything up. Every one of them's criminals. Even the 2 to 3, 4, 5-year-olds, whatever. They're all criminals. Lock them up. Throw away the key, damn it.
Yeah, it's just some post-apocalyptic wasteland.
Too late. Very simply, we will liberate Los Angeles and make it free, clean, and safe again. It's happening very quickly. The one big, beautiful bill, you've heard about it. We call it the one big, I was on one of the television shows, I think, Deface the Nation. Ladies and gentlemen, Deface the Nation. It's actually called Face the Nation for those of you that are smart enough not to know, because you better off not knowing. But I was on one of the shows, and they said, we got to get a great bill. They said, would you like it to be one bill, or would you like it to be 7 or 8 bills? They said, I want one big, beautiful bill. And
So, our friend Mary B in the chat, they're clearly not brainwashed when they're saying, did you know that climate change is a hoax created by the regime in order to grab control over your land and resources? And they intend to eradicate all of us humans on it.
Wow. I knew it. I knew it.
Yeah, because they're somebody who's clearly not... I don't know, just accepting any conspiracy theories that they're spoon-fed.
Republican
I don't know, if you really think about it.
And that's what it is. It's great. And it's
really
going to be Congress. It provides all necessary funding for ICE, for Border Patrol, and for the Department of Defense.
Right, Gene.
Yeah, it's the deep state.
Yeah.
And I told you at a level that we've never had before, over $1 trillion. We better get that bill approved. Otherwise, your helicopters and your planes and your equipment's going to start to look a little bit old, General. You better push your favorite congressman. You better push these 2 senators. I think they're in good shape, however. But we got to get it approved. And those congressmen by you are all 100%. I don't even have to talk to them. They've been so great. So I want to sign this into law immediately. And with the signing, so many great things will happen to our country. No tax on tips. Think of that. No tax. Seniors on Social Security. No tax on overtime. They're going to pay for themselves. And if you get a car, and if you borrow money to buy the car, we're going to let you deduct the interest payment if it's a new car made in America. Only if it's made in America. If it's made in Japan or China or any place else, we're not really interested in your deduction. I was elected.
Oh, God.
What did you just say? Just reading something.
He said, he basically, okay, I didn't hear exactly, but he said people, like, play it back.
Gotcha.
On overtime, they're going to pay for themselves. And if you get a car, and if you borrow money to buy the car, we're going to let you deduct the interest payment if it's a new car made in America. Only if it's made in America. If it's made in Japan or China or any place else, we're not really interested in your deduction. I was elected winning all 7 swing states, the popular vote by millions and millions of votes in all counties throughout
made in
by
America
2,700.
shit is so annoying.
Well, they kind of just... It seems like they would be happy if we just built a wall around the entire country and cut ourselves off from any global trade. They don't want anybody really coming into the country. They don't want us engaging in any sort of trade with other nations. Seems like they just kind of want to be this reclusive hermit state. I mean, what's another country where they're kind of walled off from the rest of the world? And pretty much no one visits it at all. Oh, yeah. But they're against fascism. But it seems like they seem to support a lot of models that you also see in a lot of fascist states.
150 to 525, that's what I call a big number. But this is a mandate from the people to restore the sovereign borders of the United States, and that is exactly what we're doing. Not only the borders, the financial institutions, and our country itself. We will not be deterred, and the mob...
And it's already negatively affecting the economy, the tariffs. So when things continue to get worse and worse, and our economy completely crashes, do you think they're still going to be defending the tariffs?
Yeah, it'll come around eventually, John. Just you wait. That money's going to come rolling in.
And he's talking about the cars being made in the United States. I don't know how many times I need to explain this, but people who want to defend this should look into compounded tariffs. How there are a lot of components that go into making a vehicle. Things like vehicles, computers, and the industrial age, digital age. It's pretty complex. It's very multifaceted. and you just look at a car engine, and you look at all the different components and materials that go into making that. And a lot of times you'll find that it's a large amount of different corporations and labor from across the globe that go into manufacturing those vehicles. It's not like no country. It's done exclusively within that one country. So tariffs are an antiquated concept. They're a concept that stems from the Renaissance, where back then, when it came to maritime trade, it was a tariff on something like cotton, or a tariff on something like tobacco, where it was like a single entity that was being taxed. When you're going to put taxes on like manufacturing these complex, modern sorts of tech and appliances, then something that you might think of as being simple, like a toaster, well, guess what? There's a lot of components that go into building a toaster, and it's not just one company, so there's going to be a lot of compounded tariffs of like buying goods and labor from all these different companies, from all these different countries, and it's going to add up, and it's going to drastically increase the price. So there isn't a single country on the planet, unless it's something like North Korea, where pretty much all of the like different areas of production are completely and totally based in your own country's borders.
In Los Angeles or anyone else, anywhere else, will not succeed. They don't even have a little chance. And I will be calling you early as I see this happening, because, you know, in theory, I guess you could say a governor could call, but they don't call. They let their city burn, like in Minneapolis with this guy who ran for vice president against JD. That was a good debate. JD against this guy. Remember how bad he was? That was one of the ways. I said, JD, there's never been a man like you're competing against.
So Mary B says, the point is, grasshopper tariffs, they don't really seem to add any spaces whenever they're engaging in punctuation or using punctuation, but are not antiquated because the world does it. Your commie regime taught you that lie. No, that this is something that I just learned from, you know, reading about history in general. This is stuff that I learned prior to Trump even, like, exercising tariffs. So if you read up on your history, they'll talk about how tariffs aren't really used today, and why, like, they started using sanctions over tariffs, because it is an antiquated concept. It was something that was heavily used during the Renaissance. So if you read up on your history, and especially during the colonial age, tariffs are brought up a lot. So I guess all those books were written by commies. These books written by historians like 40, 50 years ago, before Trump was even really a public figure.
This is the worst. I think he's running for president too. Can you believe it? But he's a radical left lunatic, and I'll never forget, in Minnesota, that city was burning down. Minneapolis was burning down. It was going to burn to the ground, and he wouldn't call the guard. And I waited for a long time, and I called the guard, and I saved it, but I wish I would have called it the first day. And I said, you know, if this ever happens again, because I was thinking about running because the election was rigged and stolen, we all know it. I said, we're going to run again, and if I win, remember, we're going to make it too big to rig. But we did. We won by millions and millions of votes. So beautiful to watch. That was such a beautiful. 9:02 in the evening. He said, ladies and gentlemen, Donald Trump is projected to be the winner. I said, well, you think that was easy? I don't think these ladies from North Carolina think it was easy. You know, they followed me. I don't know what happened to their husbands. They're married to very nice people, but they've been to, 138 rallies. They said more. And they're from North Carolina. It's nice that we have one nearby finally, right? They go all over the country. I don't know what the hell's going on, but they're great. They're North Carolina, beautiful, wonderful.
Oh, and Moonshine talking. It's like nerd rodeo for androgynous beta males. Yeah, because we're nerds, or at least I'm a nerd, because, you know, if you read books and have some knowledge and so forth, and you don't speak at a 5th grade level like our buddy Moonshine, then that's a bad thing, because being well educated is bad.
Like 130 rallies is a crazy number.
A rodeo sounds cooler than this.
Yeah, but you know what? It's like they show that they're not retarded, because I know what I'm talking about, because I'm a nerd and I don't read books and stuff. Yeah, they're showing all that he has all this knowledge regarding history. It's like, so they're the kind of people where being well educated is associated with being a loser, but they know their shit because they don't educate themselves. I mean, that's very sound logic.
Oh, here he is. He showed up. One of them showed up. That's great. Congratulations. Great women, actually. The great patriots. We will use every asset at our disposal to quell the violence and restore law and order right away. We're not going to wait 7 days and 8 days and wait for a governor that's never going to call and watch cities burn. And let me tell you, if we didn't do this, Los Angeles would burn. It would be burning to the ground right now, just like the houses burned to the ground just a few months ago. And the only flag that will wave triumphant over the streets of Los Angeles is the American flag, So help me God, the American flag is the one that's going to wave triumphantly over the street. And now let's get back to the true reason we're here today, celebrating 250 years of unbreakable Army courage. This week we commemorate not just the starting point in Army history, but a turning point in the history of the world. That's how important it is. When the Continental Congress created the Army and appointed its first commander, name happened to be George Washington. Has anybody heard of him? George Washington. Are you okay, darling?
Yeah, so the people in the chat that are pro-Trump, if you quiz them on certain elements surrounding George Washington, how much do you think they would know?
Everything.
Not a whole fucking lot.
I don't want the mods to say anything, but can people in the chat tell me what political party George Washington was associated with? I wonder if they would know that. Let's see what they have to say.
Are you all right? You take your time, please. Doctor, please. Doctor. Doctor in the house. Thank you. Thank you very much. These are great people. They've been waiting here a long time, General, so, you know, we want to give them all the time they need, right? Thank you very much. Greatest people in the world. They are amazing. Amazing.
I still am not getting any responses, so that's a very simple question. So if you ask somebody like, hey, what political party did George Bush, was he affiliated with? You should just type up, no problem, Republican. Theodore Roosevelt, or Franklin Roosevelt, no problem, just Democrat. You're asking them what political party did, well, we got our first answer, but that took some time. Mary B is technically right. None. Oh, they said Patriot side, so Republican. And then someone else said Whigs. See, so if you know your history, you and I don't know if Mary just Googled it, but they supported no political party because they felt that political parties just divide a country and each politician should just represent their own views and their own, like, particular policies, and he did not support political parties. But I'm sure if you quiz Trump on that, he would know that, and I'm sure a lot of the MAGA tards, if you talk to them, they would be able to answer that right away.
Oh, good. Thank you very much. Thank you. Okay, honey, thank you. Beautiful.
And I do think Mary Googled it because it took her and others a while to actually answer. So if they actually knew that, they should have been able to answer right away.
Beautiful young person.
No, they were pretty sure they knew, but they had to Google it to make sure, John.
Yeah.
We won young people, old people, and everything in between. It's sort of nice. Remember they used to say, but Trump doesn't have the young people. We won everything. Thank you very much, Doctor. Great job. When the Continental Congress created the Army and appointed its first commander, General George Washington, they sent the fierce spirit of a free nation into battle under a rallying cry that echoes to this day. Give me liberty or give me death. Have you heard of it? Quite a beautiful statement. Think of what that means. Give me liberty or give me death. I know exactly what that means. Just 3 days after the birth of the Army, the great patriot, founding father, Dr. Joseph Warren, was on the front lines as a soldiers stood totally outnumbered and outgunned at Bunker Hill. They had a group of soldiers against them that were supposed to be in that day unbeatable. Warren's mother had begged him, son, please don't do it. She said, please, please don't do it. Don't risk your life for even the patriot cause, please. And he replied, wherever danger...
Do you think if Trump was around during the revolution, he would take up arms?
Yeah, he'd be such
Go out in the front.
Yeah. A hero.
Dear mother, there your son will be.
They probably didn't know about burn spurs or bone spurs back then, so what do you think his excuse would be 3 times over?
I don't know. That he's got gout.
Shed my last drop of blood to make us so beautiful. So the words are so beautiful. At Bunker Hill, Warren kept his vow, fighting and fighting and fighting and loving his country until he fell, drenched in blood, and gave his life at the very young age of 34. Exactly 250 years later, we are joined by Dr. Warren's great-great-great-great-grandson, and it's 7 generations down. And now an Iraq war veteran, retired Army specialist, Scott Warren, is here with his daughter, Sergeant E5.
He's an Iraq war veteran. Now, all the people that died in the Iraq war and all the people dealing with PTSD from the Iraq war, do you think we really accomplished a lot during that war?
Yeah.
Carrington Sanders of Fort Irwin. I want to just, where are you? Where would you be in this big crowd? Thank you very much. What an honor. What an honor. You look great, too, by the way. You really look great. Thank you very much. What a great family. But you carry in your veins the love and devotion of a martyr for American liberty. Please stand. Just put that hand up once more for the people, because they will thank you very much. You're looking good. Looking good. Good genes. Good genetics. Thank you both. Thank you very much. The life of a soldier is not just a job.
He said, you seriously think he would put his life on the line? No, I don't.
A calling and a sacred tradition passed down from father to son, brother to sister, and one generation to the next. At every hour of danger, our noblest citizens have answered that call.
Yeah, I was thinking of, when I said that, Rhett Butler from Gone with the Wind. But then I realized, oh, Rhett Butler actually did engage in some military combat, but he did it after the fact. And he was on the side of the Confederates.
Kiss their loved ones goodbye and run to the sound of guns. You run to the sound of guns, you're running right into them, you're going to win. When the British tried to reconquer our young nation in 1812, 1,000 Americans at Fort McHenry fought off a British invasion fleet, 5,000 strong. They say it was unstoppable. Lieutenant Francis Scott Key, you all heard the name, watched from Baltimore Harbor as the Army kept Old Glory flying.
Oh, I've told you guys about this before. Francis Scott Key, he wrote the national anthem, and I live in Baltimore, so Fort McHenry isn't that far away from me. And they held off like the Royal Navy from sailing through the harbor and taking over Baltimore. And the way the history is told is that he was a lawyer. He was on one of the ships negotiating with one of their commanders or captains. And then the cannons went off and the ship he was on was destroyed. And he was floating on the debris, the rubble of one of the ships. And then he looked up and he saw the British Navy fleeing. And then the anthem just came to him. Do you think that's accurate, or do you think there's some hyperbole there?
No, Stephen Young said anti-American story coming up. So yeah, that was very anti-American, John.
Yeah.
What you just said.
Well, you did try to insinuate that was all some sort of propagandized lie. So yeah, John, I
Yeah.
think that was an anti-American
Fucking
sentiment
libtard.
you pushed out. You
I
libtard.
I know there was only a few hundred people in Fort McHenry, and they held off an entire British Royal Navy fleet. So I think that's impressive.
Many people died. Deeply inspired, he wrote a poem in tribute to Army courage and American pride, known today as the Star-Spangled Banner, or our national anthem. Great. 8 generations later, we're joined by a descendant of Francis Scott Key, who has spent 2 decades in uniform. Major Kyle Key of Army National Guard fame. Please, Major, where are you, Major?
Oh, did I read that on a commie website? No. If you go to Fort McHenry, they have an educational video if you visit the site, and that's where I learned that from. And it wasn't depicting it in a negative manner, so it definitely was a very patriotic, pro-American sort of educational video. And in
John,
fact, what's that?
You lost them at educational.
Oh yeah, education bad. It's like, did you learn that from some commie site? And I bet the follow-up's going to be something like, laugh out loud. You actually went to a particular historical site to learn something? What a dork.
Yeah.
Learning stuff is what ignorant people do.
Dude, what's going on here? These guys they all come from a very fine strain of blood. That's great genetics is right. Thank you both very much. Major Key, thank you for helping to keep this incredible land of ours free and the home of the brave, and that's what it was. Through the decades that followed, the Army conquered the great frontier, won the war that restored our nation and broke forever the chains of slavery. A generation later, the Army's Rough Riders stormed up San Juan Hill with Colonel Theodore Roosevelt.
John.
Oh, what's that?
Learning is low-key gay, John, if you didn't know, from Stephen Young in the chat. That's the thing. When you're out there getting all that knowledge, you should have been getting some bitches, John.
Yeah, and that's how you learn about politics, is just having sex all the time. I mean, because that's the only way to measure somebody's worth, whether you can beat somebody in a fight and whether you have sex. Because people who live in white trash Hickville, where every other person you know peaks working at a 7-Eleven or a Pizza Hut, yeah, it's almost like because nobody has any skill or worth, the only thing that they can use to distinguish themselves from any of their peers, any of their contemporaries, is whether I can beat you in a fight, motherfucker, or whether you're a virgin.
No, you're a
Because we all
virgin.
know, like, well-educated adults, that's how they think. People in more affluent, white-collar areas, your average lawyer, your average doctor, that's their metric of worth, is I bet you're a virgin, I bet I could beat you in a fight.
You're a Trump-tard podcaster, John.
American hemisphere.
You supporting this buffoon Trump sucks, John. I can't believe by sitting here and listening to his words and criticizing them and literally, I don't see how, like, people just tune into this thing for 2 seconds and just assume. It's so funny.
Because that's a sign that, again, you're a very intelligent person when you jump to conclusions. You don't analyze and assess things first in order to determine what the truth is. You make just baseless, crass, sort of conclusions and act as if those baseless conclusions are true. It's almost like knowledge is a justified true belief. And do you think popping into a podcast for a couple seconds, do you think that's enough justification for why you think your belief that they must be completely left-leaning and support Biden, why you think that's true? I don't know.
Fought bravely in the Valley of the Marne and in the Argonne. There in 1918, a devout Tennessee Christian named Alvin York, you know that name, charged across an open field towards the German machine guns they were firing at levels at that time that nobody had ever seen before. They were knocking down everything in their way, including giant trees were coming down. The enemy mowed down more than half of his platoon almost immediately. The platoon was going down like nobody's ever thought possible. But York pressed on into the jaws of death. He slayed German after German and returned with 132 prisoners from behind the enemy lines. And he had the option of killing them, and he didn't want to do that. And that's okay, isn't it, right? It's okay. But he brought 132 back. And his actions, and the actions of that great day, that crazy but great day, Sergeant York earned the Congressional Medal of Honor and became one of the most famed and decorated heroes of the First World War. Very famous, actually, because of the movie that was made. And we're joined today by Sergeant York's grandson, Army Colonel Gerald York. Gerald? Thank you. Thank you, Gerald.
Now, didn't the United States not get involved till the last 6 months of World War I? And in fact, even World War II, a lot of people were against getting involved in the war. So if you're talking about how selfless America was, and of course it's the case for any country, but the reason we got involved in both wars was more for self-serving reasons.
Thank you very much. It's a great honor to have you. Thank you, Gerald. At his grandfather's funeral in 1964, Gerald was told by the command sergeant major of Fort Bragg that it was about time he joined the Army. And he volunteered for combat in Vietnam and gave the Army 31 of his best years. No, I think your best years are
okay, next vid.
Oh, dude, it was bad to start the Trump marathon with an hour of Trump. Oh, here's another. Oh, wait, this isn't the Trump parade, Gene.
Oh, it isn't?
No, this is a different one.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, I keep getting type in military parade, and for some reason it's all these fascist sort of dictatorships that keep popping up.
Yeah, you're a little shoddy with your research on this one, John.
Okay. I'm sorry, it was an accident.
It was an accident.
If we weren't there, if we didn't bring in the National Guard and the Marines, you would probably have a city that was burning to the ground, just like it was a number of months ago with housing. You would have had a big problem there. We weren't. In fact, the police chief said something.
What's he saying?
Yeah. So, do you think the LA riots that going on in the last few days, do you think they're worse than the sort of LA riots, like the Rodney King riots? What do you think?
No.
I have a feeling those were a lot worse. And I don't think that LA burnt to the ground. So, and I believe they only lasted like 3 days, but do you think that would have been the case here? That if the military didn't get involved in California, their government just dealt with it themselves, not calling in the National Guard, do you think that's what would have happened? The entire city would be gone? It would just be a pile of ash and rubble? Yeah.
I can't remember the exact term, but people that think like that, like, oh, if I wasn't here, this place would have been burned to the ground. He's done that with the LA riots, Minneapolis when they were doing their riots, the fire in LA, and yeah, if it wasn't for me, the whole place would have been gone. Like I don't know what's the
wars are happening all the time, but hey, if the war doesn't result in the world ending, it's all Trump. If any other president was alive, the world would be over now.
I'll be right back.
Because it's not like every president can make that claim.
Well, I don't know. That's what you're saying. I believe you. I don't think so. I can tell you that what we have is a situation in Los Angeles that was caused by gross incompetence. They didn't have the police to handle it. The police were asking us to come in. They were very late. We had to go in to save a lot of ICE officers, as you know, who were held up. They were held up in a building, and they were being attacked. And the military went in, the National Guard went in and got them. The police weren't able to.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the government... What's that?
Is this supposed to be, like, loud?
I don't think so. Volume's all the way up.
Very quiet.
Oh.
Quiet for you?
Yeah.
I think it's the wrong country again. So it is pretty unprecedented, like the military parade. I believe the last military parade we had was after the Gulf War. So it hasn't been like since the 90s where we had some kind of military parade, and the United States is supposed to be apolitical. So seems like people who want to claim that the left is fascist, I don't know, it seems like Trump does his policies and his actions, there are a lot of parallels with other fascist states. Now, did you watch the military parade, Crow?
I watched a clip of it where it was this older style tank going down the road. No one was cheering, and the tank was just like squeaking, and it was just like, yeah, that's how you sum up Trump's whole fucking parade. Is just no one clapping, old tanks just squeaking by.
Oh, he says no fat soldiers.
Oh yeah, I was gonna bring this up.
What about Trump? Isn't Trump fat? He's definitely the second fattest president we've ever had. Taft, I would say, is definitely the fattest. They had to build a special bathtub for him.
Yeah, I was gonna bring this up with Trump's speech. Yeah, they selected pro-Trump soldiers to be in the background, and we're told, or the people in charge were told, yeah, don't put fat soldiers in the back.
No political opposition to the president.
Somebody says bottom left looks like Jersey from Breaking Bad. Which character was Jersey? Does he mean Jesse?
Yes.
Oh,
you.
Okay. Sure.
That's Crow now.
These soldiers sitting behind the president in the bleachers during his visit to
Crow's too short to be Jesse. He's half of Jesse's height.
This is according to internal 82nd Airborne Communications. The story was first reported by military.com. ADR's Carly Haynes is live in Raleigh. Carl, yesterday's event was a celebration of the Army's 250th birthday, so to speak, or anniversary, but it was not without controversy.
Right, the celebration happened nearly 24 hours ago right here in North Carolina, but what happened there reached members
of the... Did they say 251st birthday? I can understand the 250th birthday, but I don't know, 51 seems like you're a year too late to capitalize on that.
Now, I do want to address something in the chat. I'll come back on camera here in a minute. But Gazer says, ironic, fat shamers, aren't you guys into like body positivity? No, don't get the wrong idea. Even though John here with the beanie is a libtard snowflake cuck, he is a notorious body shamer.
What? I don't want people to be overweight. I mean, I care about people regardless of their politics, and you look at a map of like different states based on the percentage of their population is overweight or obese. And I mean, a lot of red states, I mean, there's a correlation between voting red and being overweight and being obese. So I do care for them. I don't want them to die of heart attacks and diabetes, but it's not an opinion. It's a statistic that if you vote red, you're much more likely to be a fat fuck. But hey, I'm just some libtard SJW.
Celebrating what they witnessed.
Teddy doesn't like our poll.
It looks like a campaign of...
What the heck, Teddy? Why don't you like our poll?
But this is an official presidential visit to Fort Bragg to celebrate the 250th anniversary of the U.S. Army.
And I like that where if you're fat, they definitely are going to call you a fat neckbeard. But if you're not overweight, then you're a soy boy. Because it's clear how they love to be consistent. And they're not little kids.
The Army historically has bent over backwards to maintain an apolitical image.
Steve Bannon is a national security correspondent for military.com. This is what led his sources, ranging from Pentagon officials to junior soldiers, to raise the alarm.
The way that some of these troops behave would likely violate a whole host of Defense Department regulations, which effectively prohibit partisan activity in uniform. And that is what was so shocking about this event in particular.
Bannon looked into who was chosen to sit behind the president. Internal communication within the 82nd Airborne Division outlined specific directives. Those include soldiers sitting in the bleachers are to be fit and not look fat, and soldiers with political views in opposition who don't want to be there need to get swapped out.
Well, but even a step further, there was a Trump merchandise shop. This whole like pop-up shop. It's called Campaign 365.
Now, to be fair, how many fat soldiers are there? Because I'm pretty sure if you're overweight in the military, you'll get in trouble. I mean, they expect you to lose a certain amount of weight within a certain amount of time that you actually join the military.
Selling T-shirts and tchotchkes and all sorts of memorabilia.
In a statement to WRAL, an 18th Airborne Corps spokesperson wrote, "The Army does not endorse political merchandise or the views it represents. The vendor's presence is under review to determine how it was permitted and to prevent similar occurrences in the future."
So this is a week that is very problematic for the Army's image that could definitely have lasting effects on its relationship with the public as an institution that wants to appear apolitical.
So why do you think when Trump does his rallies and speeches, why is there always a black guy behind him? Do you think that's a coincidence?
Never a coincidence.
It's because black people love
You don't think that they show up and it's just like, hey, you come with us. We'll give you a really good seat. Here, right behind Donald Trump. You get to be on camera.
If it was the same black guy over and over again, then yeah, that maybe I might have some questions, but
Any of the soldiers face any discipline for this, and if so, what would that look like? Also, will the Army reframe how it goes about events similar to this in the future? Harley Haynes, WRAL News, live in Raleigh.
Justice, who they are, and Mike, I think you're doing some investigations in that in Congress, but we're going to find out who they are because they're really, I think what they're doing is unbelievable.
I can't hear anything, John.
They took the bricks away from.
Nick's vid. Oh, wrong bit again.
The streets of the nation's capital are set for a giant.
Oh, is this the wrong country again? Or oh no, this is Trump's parade.
Saturday is going to be a big day in Washington, D.C. You know, a lot of people say we don't want to do that. I say, yeah, we do. We want to show off a little bit.
The event is expected to feature about 6,600 soldiers, 150 vehicles, and 50 aircraft in celebration of the Army's 250th birthday. President Trump, who will also be celebrating his birthday, will preside over the parade from a grandstand, a move that's prompting backlash and counter-protests.
We're celebrating the Army on Flag Day, and it's not my birthday. It is my birthday.
Do you think those protests, like those protesters, they're terrorists?
No, but I guarantee
they don't respect the government.
I guarantee you some of those protests had larger numbers than what not Trump's birthday parade was or had or whatever.
But I'm not celebrating my birthday. I'm celebrating Flag Day. It happens to be the same day, so I take a little heat.
The parade is expected to cost the Army anywhere from $25 to $45 million, and millions more will be spent on security, personnel, and other costs.
So Trump is a billionaire, so $40 million, that's like penny change for him. So do you think altruistic Trump will spend his own money on this parade, on his birthday parade?
No, it's going to be taxpayer fucking fed.
Oh, the taxpayers are paying for it. Okay.
So here's a breakdown of what's involved. Bringing together equipment and uniforms from the U.S. Army's 250-year history, officials say the parade will celebrate all eras of the country's oldest military branch.
It's going to cost a little bit of money, but we're getting training value out of this. But also we get to tell our story.
Some of the heaviest equipment was brought in from Fort Cavazos in Texas. It was transported by rail before being transferred to trucks and staged near the National Mall. The Army declined to say how much this effort cost. The equipment includes Paladins, which are self-propelled howitzers first introduced in the 1960s, M1A2 Abrams tanks and Bradley fighting vehicles, which move on tracks and were first used in combat during Desert Storm, Strikers, which are 8-wheeled armored vehicles that were used extensively in Iraq and Afghanistan, and infantry squad vehicles, which are newer and faster lightweight trucks. There will also be old-school touring cars, jeeps, and even a cavalry horse detachment. The vehicles, many weighing tens of thousands of pounds, will drive down Constitution Avenue. To protect the streets, steel plates have been placed where the vehicles will need to pivot. But if the pavement gets damaged, the Army says it's prepared to pay.
We have the big dog robots. When do you think we're going to have robotic horses, like war horses?
For repairs. The Army is also planning a paratrooper demonstration, a fireworks display.
I mean, that's just a giant, big war dog thing.
We need like kamikaze war horses that just flink around like the enemies and blow up.
Blackhawks, and Apaches. Each of these costs about $5,000 to $8,000 per flight hour, according to a Pentagon document. The parade could also feature historic aircraft like the B-25 Mitchell and the P-51 Mustang. The Army also had uniforms produced to replicate what troops wore.
How many black troops do you think were fighting for the U.S., the colonies, during the Revolution?
Oh, the Revolution. Probably what they have right here. 3.
War. Though the Army
I don't know, it seems kind of disproportionate when it came to the demographics at the time.
Respond to questions about the cost. Officials say the parade will be worth it because it'll be a giant recruiting opportunity, and it's expected to end with an enlistment ceremony.
Overall, this is like a big recruiting event, telling the story of the U.S. Army.
So, you know how British judges, they wear the powdered wigs?
Yeah.
If you look at all these Commonwealth countries where they still wear the powdered wigs, looks so out of place.
It's a rich history, it's a rich heritage that's existed for 250 years.
Another cost, the troops themselves. Thousands of soldiers were bused or flown in for the event. They're staying in 2 government buildings near Capitol Hill from about June 11th to June 15th. Officials say they're sleeping on cots, eating packaged meals called MREs, and getting a per diem of $69 a day. While they're living on modest army means, the per diem alone could cost nearly $2 million. And then there are steep security costs for the parade, which has been deemed a national special security event.
We're preparing for an enormous turnout. Hundreds of thousands of attendees. It is our duty to ensure the safety and security of every participant.
The Secret Service, the FBI, the National Guard, and several law enforcement agencies are all playing a role.
Okay, look at this.
God, what? Why? Why?
I don't know. It seems, I don't know. Maybe they should try to get rid of this as a part of their culture. Do you think they liked being colonized? I don't know.
No, that one dude's running away.
It's like, what did I come back to?
Look, like the rest of them are wearing wigs, and that one guy in front's just like, "No, I'm done with this."
Dude, I hate to be that guy, but nah, this goes hard. I like.
Yeah, if you don't know the context, they were showing a bunch of soldiers LARPing as troops during like the early or the 18th century, and they had a bunch of black soldiers in the powdered wigs. We're like, yeah, that just kind of looks like it breaks the laws of the universe, kinda. It seems like you put a powdered wig on somebody who isn't white, and it seems like somehow it's like protons, like 2 protons are just going to propel each other. They have the same charge.
Were they talking about this?
It just shouldn't be making contact.
Were they talking about this when you left, Shab?
No, Shab walked away as well.
So were you as equally as confused to come back and see this on the screen?
Nah.
Sounds about right.
I'm cool with this guy. I don't know who he is, but I'm cool with him.
I like it too. I was not expecting.
He has a nice shiny
All
head.
right.
Okay, I don't like this.
Oh,
they're bad
No.
hairdos. They're bad hairdos.
How come you liked it on the other guy but not these guys? And
No, I don't like their hairdos. That's dumb looking. Looks like they cut up a floor mat and put it on their head.
No.
It's a lower quality wig.
It's a crappy wig. I would wear a way fancier one. You can catch me dead in one of them wigs.
Why don't our judges have wigs?
Yeah, we should bring this back.
We need the powdered wigs and the tassels and everything.
I'd like to see more of this in American court.
Anyway, back to Trump's fascist birthday parade.
5 miles of anti-scale fencing, 17 miles of bike rack, 175 magnetometers, and multiple drones. There will also be costs to the city and its businesses, including closed streets, a temporary suspension of flight traffic, and overtime pay. When similar events like inaugurations take place, it can cost DC $30 million or more.
If somebody says I'm racist,
the Congress have expressed concern about the parade's costs.
I think they're talking about Shad. Maybe you two. You're both racist.
It was an accident.
And you too, Crow.
President Putin and China's
I accepted it a long time ago.
Crow's the most racist.
From Moscow today at a Russian parade marking victory.
Oh, wrong country again.
China prepares for
Do it peacefully. It's a vulgar display. It's the kind of thing you see Kim Jong-un, you see it Putin, you see it with dictators around the world that are weak and just want to demonstrate.
I think he's lying about seeing it with dictators around the world.
Nah, he's just talking shit. He just doesn't. He think, it's cool when Kim Jong Un does it, but when Trump does it, everyone's got to get ooh.
Yeah.
Weakness masquerading as strength.
So other developed countries like that are known to be pretty democratic, that are some of the least corrupt countries on the planet. Countries like Finland, Iceland, South Korea. How many? How many military parades do you think they have? I have a feeling that military parades is what you see in countries that fall more within the parameters of what you consider to be a dictatorship.
The dear leader on his birthday? What an embarrassment. Honestly, that's about as small as it gets.
Danny's in the chat.
How weak do you have to be to commandeer the military to fet you on your birthday in a vulgar display of weakness? That's Donald Trump.
We wouldn't make Danny a mod in the chat. That's
these governors have all been waiting for this decision.
No way.
I haven't had a chance to talk to any governors. By the way, every Republican governor. I remember one of them by the name of Kristi Noem, who just a few months ago was on there with one of the spokespeople for the Trump administration, Sean Hannity, and was going on and on.
Somebody says, all I know is that if you did it to your own flag, it's fine. However, If it's someone's flag and they didn't give consent, then it's not justified.
Yeah, that'd be an
What do you mean
crime.
someone's flag? Where
Somebody yanks their flag at a protest and burns it, something like
Yeah.
that. You know, that's destruction of somebody's personal property.
Yeah,
that's a
it's their
no.
personal property. Then I
That
think
would be a crime.
Yeah, they should face consequences then.
But still, you can order 100. But you can order 100 American flags and burn them in a fucking bonfire.
Yeah,
that's free
I'm gonna
speech.
do that next week. In fact,
4th of July.
yes.
President Biden was going to federalize her national truth, and she stood there talking about freedom, federalism, 10th Amendment. And here she is, her folks throwing the United States Senator from the great state of California on the ground and handcuffing him in his office building in 2025.
Oh shit, John. Yeah, this is. Wait.
I don't know.
No, that's.
I should have
Was
more
that Trump
tentative.
on the wall? That looked kind of like him, I guess. Okay.
Yeah, when he was.
Should have been more tentative when it came to adding the different videos to the playlist.
I mean, that's really cool and all, but there aren't even any tanks, John, in this video.
No, there.
Okay, all right. My bad. I take it back.
Oh,
I see how you could have got
tanks, yay.
confused. I see how you got.
Dude, don't you think we should have? I mean, North Korea has us beat with the patriotism and all their polls and everything. 100% of their country, or 100% of their population, support the military. They support their leaders' cause. Our country's just falling to shit and everything. People just don't support the military anymore.
Yeah, Trump Gaza. This is China. All right, dude. All
They
right.
all seem pretty happy about whatever's going on. I'm cool with this.
Their parade's definitely more eccentric. There's definitely a lot more variety.
That seems a lot more fun than what was going down at Trump's parade. I'm just gonna say it. I'll say it. North Korea's parade seems a little more fun.
Yeah, let's go to North Korea's parades instead.
Yeah, we need to go to Pyongyang vacation there. But don't steal any banners.
I kind of
Could you
want to
imagine?
see.
My bad.
I kind of want to live long enough to see the end of that and how North Korean people are just because it's gonna start once he's dead or once the dictatorship or whatever is over. Some people are gonna be like, yeah, I never really believed in that, and then, oh yeah, no, he's God or whatever, and then like how they deify him, and then it throughout the deconstruction of the deity figure of the Uns.
Well, there were defectors that were terrified once they fled to South Korea. They thought that Kim Jong-un knew where they were because they believed that Kim Jong-un had this sort of omnipotent sort of ability where he knew mentally or psychically where their location was. So they've actually there have been defectors where they honestly believe that he has godlike powers.
Well, that's only because
and he was born without a butthole. He was born
true.
flying out of his mother's vagina, and he always gets a hole in one in golf.
But someone's recently smuggled out a phone from North Korea, and apparently it takes screenshots every 5 minutes. Doesn't you can't. The person that owns the phone can't access. It goes straight into a file. It goes straight to the North Korean government, and then that's how they fucking another way to track you.
So how many people are playing World of Tanks? Because I know Kim Jong-un apparently loves World of Tanks. Apparently he plays it constantly. So we need to go on or the servers in World of Tanks. We need to try to find him.
Yeah. We'll just all
get
use
him on the
names to
PPP.
It'll be
Yes.
Hunter 1, Hunter 2.
He'll love us.
So how many people do you think he's friends with in World of Tanks? Because he's not playing with the people. There probably aren't a lot of people in North Korean servers that are playing the game. So he might be one of the only people from North Korea playing, unless
Dude, he seems like he would make people.
No, literally,
play
I was
with
thinking.
him.
Yeah,
you know.
No, he promotes his generals based on how well they perform in World of Tanks with him, and that's how he gets the most elite squad. And if you suck, he'll just kill you.
Yes. But do you think
if you let
there
him
are
die
people
in
that are
World of
friends
Tanks or something?
with whatever his alias is? Do you think there's people that are friends with him who play with him? He's on their friends list and they have no fucking clue that they're playing with Kim Jong-un.
The NATO Supreme Allied Commander and retired Major General Paul Eaton, who was a commanding general during the Iraq War and currently serves as a senior.
Someone said Dennis Rodman, John.
General, let me start with you. We now have a video I played it at the
He's on the
show
squad.
that shows Marines in Los Angeles have carried out their first detainment of a civilian in Los Angeles. The young man they detained is also a veteran. He said they were doing his job. They were just doing their jobs. But I wonder what you think of those images of U.S. forces detaining Americans on U.S. soil.
I think it's a very, very tragic and improper image. It gives a wrong message to the public about the United States Marine Corps and the armed forces. And these Marines are there basically for no good reason other than to look tough and to promote President Trump's domestic political agenda. You know, the Secretary of Defense said he wanted to emphasize lethality. Well, this is no emphasis on lethality. These Marines should be back at 29 Palms or wherever they were training and getting ready to go work against China or secure the Philippines or through their training simply deter China. But that's not happening. Instead, they're part of a domestic political show, essentially.
General Eaton, I've spoken with a number of veterans and former active duty military this week, including Jake Auchincloss, who made the point that at 29 Palms, they're trained, which is where these Marines are coming from, for overseas, of course, deployment, for using lethal force. And they're being asked to do things that they shouldn't be asked to do. And in fact, some of the reporting suggests from The Guardian that some of the National Guard troops and Marines have been deeply troubled by their deployments in Los Angeles. I want to ask about this because I don't think there's been enough focus on what the men and women serving our country have been, the position they have been put in.
How many of them do you think have faced firework wounds or brick wounds?
One would be too many, John.
The brick battalion.
It's a wonder any. Never mind. I'm not
I want to know what you thought about that.
Yeah, indeed. The men and women of the armed forces of the United States did not join our services to work inward, to do basic police work that they are not trained for, that we train our great men and women in blue to do after many, many weeks of training. That's not why they...
Well, I do know the governor of New York deployed the National Guard in the New York subways. So I don't know how well the troops here were trained, but they do use the military for this kind of police work, especially in riots, fairly often.
Well, that's one of the objectives of the National Guard, but it's not one of the objectives for the United States Marines.
Yeah, and the thing is, I do know that Trump didn't abide by typical policy. He went over the jurisdiction of the governor. Usually the governor has to write in a request to the president to have the National Guard deployed. And Trump just went ahead and sent in the troops on his own volition, superseding the governor. So he definitely did not abide by the conventional policy that's in place.
Sailors. This is a great disappointment to them. I'm confident that they feel extremely uncomfortable doing what's been asked of them in Los Angeles.
It seems that is played out in the reporting as well. I'm sure we'll hear more about it. I want to bring you both back to Washington, D.C. I'm obviously here tonight. We're going to see there's this parade tomorrow. The National Mall has been kind of taken over by military equipment. This seems to be the White House is still saying this is a celebration of the Army, which of course we all want to honor, but we all know it's a celebration of Trump's birthday. General Clark, let me just start with you and get your sense of what you think about all of this happening tomorrow.
Well, we certainly wouldn't be doing this if it weren't President Trump's birthday. That's the first thing. Secondly, it's an expensive proposition. Third, it takes training time away. So it's not just the 4 days that the troops are out there. They probably spent the last 10 days getting ready for it, sizing up, making sure people were deployed.
See, they're not going to be properly trained for when, like, the second sort of invasion force of the illegal immigrants come into the country, try to overthrow our president.
Now, well, let's face reality. There'll be some of these guys who've never been to D.C. They may say, hey, we're going to get an afternoon off. I'm going to get to see a baseball game or go look at
Next vid.
Yep. Who cares that? I'll be honest. Who cares that some soldiers and shit got 10 days off of work? Who gives a fuck?
Yeah.
You fucking grouchy old fuck.
And when they do complain about stupid shit like that, they're not really making their side look good. It shows that they're just reaching and nitpicking.
Yeah.
Dude, do you think you'd be able to play the flute that well?
Given the time and training, give me 10 days, John.
Give me 5 minutes.
So, I know the Germany in World War II, their planes were designed to make that particular noise with their motors to create anxiety and unease. It's like Jericho's trumpet, and that's why in the age of musket cannon warfare, they would usually have drummer boys and people playing music to instill this fear. So do you think we need to bring that back?
Well, it was also used to boost morale, and also since like with like flags and the Navy, it was also used for communication between different squads or whatever the fuck.
Well, I'm thinking that in modern warfare, when they send in the tanks in the front lines, what they need to do for like Jericho's trumpet is they have to have this portable sort of musical theater with dudes with guitars and stuff playing this sort of patriotic music. And they need to have like the loudest speaker system imaginable. And it's just the concert, like the mobile concerts on a bunch of train treads. It's just moving forward behind all the tanks and military vehicles. What do you think about that?
No, I think it should be the guitar people from Fury Road.
Yeah, I was thinking
like,
Mad Max. That's what I was thinking. He's dangling there.
Or maybe they need to have like a blimp that just has a concert on it, and it's just flying overhead, like all the soldiers and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it's Katy Perry fucking up in
So
space.
that was the historic Drum and Fife Corps, a couple of fifers there in their magnificent colonial uniforms, which reminds me of my grandmother making her grandchildren dress up in colonial garb. We are here now with Colonel Camille Stahlkoper. Is that correct? That's correct. And he's going to show us some of the toys that you own that are on loan here for this parade.
The toys?
Great. And I think you wanted to start back here. I did. Way back over there is the M1126 Stryker infantry carrier, 8-wheel vehicle, like a driver, a commander, and 8 infantry dismounts. The cool thing about that Stryker is it comes from the U.S. Army's 3rd Cavalry Regiment. The last time that unit was here in D.C. was 1949 for President Truman.
I don't know. A lot of this tech seems kind of underwhelming. Where's the more advanced tech?
Parade down Pennsylvania Avenue, and they're back, and it's awesome. The soldiers are excited to be driving down Pennsylvania Avenue here later this afternoon, so we can't really wait. So that is one of the 4 vehicles that we brought from Fort Cavazos, Texas, 1,924 miles via train. We left in a second. We came in early on Saturday.
Now, are they gonna march with their nukes, like North Korea?
So that's
Look, did you see the John Deere tractor back there, John? Now, that's some American shit.
Well, Alexander Lashenko, he loves to include tractors in his military parades.
Show us what we've got here. I think he said that these 3 right here are the same. Yeah, so these 3 right here, these are the M2A4 Bradley fighting vehicles, 25mm Bushmaster cannon, 7.62 machine gun. He's got a tow, 2 launcher, 2 tows against tank.
Oh, that one dude, Ric Flair, says these 4 definitely watch adult anime. Wow.
Wait, what's the difference between what's the difference between adult anime and anime?
I don't know.
Hey, Ric Flair, get back to me on that.
Maybe you should talk to my mods about what my thoughts are on anime. I always piss people off because I think anime is retarded.
Yeah, but I mean, what do you think about adult anime now? Apparently,
Adult
there's
anime?
adult anime.
Did you know an anime is not just a cartoon from Japan? Did you know that, Crow?
Is adult anime Murder, She
It's
Wrote?
a style. It's not just a cartoon from Japan. It's more than that.
The Pedantic Anime Podcast.
Tanks, crew of 3, 6 dismounts. This is an extremely lethal platform. So dismount is a soldier. Dismount is a soldier, an infantry soldier.
What's your favorite anime, Crow?
Inuyasha.
It was when I was like 13.
No, Inuyasha, there's not enough time in the anime where the characters stare each other down and talk to each other for 80 episodes straight about their power levels and their movesets. Definitely, it's not a good anime unless, I don't know, 90% of the episodes are the characters engaging in exposition about their like power levels and moves.
We do need more of that. You do make a good
It has
point.
more firepower than the Stryker. It is more lethal, has more armor than the Stryker, and it can get troops all the way to the front lines in battle. So when you look up and see one of these things, you're in trouble. Oh yeah, when you see one of these things right now.
Ric Flair, do you like adult anime? What's your favorite adult anime, Ric Flair?
When he says adult anime, I feel like he means what's the stuff called that's like porn anime? I forget what that's called. What's it called?
We're not up to date on our anime lingo.
What's it called?
I don't know. Gumby. Gumby's my favorite anime.
Gumby.
They're killing the enemy.
Yeah, that's my favorite adult anime.
Soldiers love driving.
Gumby.
Okay, and then what do we got here? So right here, this is the Paladin self-propelled howitzer. This is a 155mm cannon. So that's the size of a dinner plate. Oh, dinner plate. It's almost like 2.5 feet long, 103 pounds. It shoots it out to 32 kilometers. So it can go way above and beyond where the tanks and Bradleys are, and so it kind of kills the enemy far, far away from the front lines. And so every one of those more.
But Crow.
Yes.
Did you know that an anime isn't just a cartoon from Japan?
No, it's a genre, or not a genre. It's a stylized,
It's
which
a
can
style.
have style that can have multiple genres.
But doesn't the word anime in Japan just mean animation?
John,
play the next video, John.
Yeah, please.
Rounds is filled with explosives. Yes, that thing hits a building.
But Crow, can you name an anime that's not from Japan?
Avatar: The
Anime
Last
podcast.
Wait, no, fuck, no. Studio Ghibli's all Japanese.
SpongeBob. SpongeBob.
Yeah, SpongeBob. Yeah, that's the best anime.
Oh, if you just wanted to do, yeah, whatever the fuck.
So just logging support from the artillery, and you're pretty well protected in one of these things. Very good.
It's just a style. What's a cartoon from Japan that doesn't fall within the anime style?
Mom's butt.
Shinji. Or the fucking Adult Swim Shinji.
Shinji?
I can't remember.
Shinji Mushu or
Yeah, that wasn't technically the typical.
Is that what it's called? Shinji Mushu?
No, it's Shinji. It was on Adult Swim.
Yeah. Oh, sorry.
So what's Shinji Muchi Machi? What's that show about?
Just a little kid. I don't fucking know.
A little kid.
I'm not talking about adult or whatever.
Okay,
the fuck.
it's not an adult anime. So what does the kid do in the Shinji anime?
I don't know.
I guess Crow likes anime here.
He goes to school and he has an eccentric family. I don't like. It was like in 2004, so I was like 9 when it was on Adult Swim.
Okay, sounds pretty boring.
Protection against small arms. And then what do we got here? And here, the last vehicle, the cream of the crop. This is the M1A2 Abrams main battle tank, 80 tons, 120 millimeter smoothbore.
Also, that's false. M1A2 Abrams. The M1A2 Abrams, that's not the cream of the crop because there is a futurist. It's like an M2A3, I believe.
We need our self-driven tanks. When are we going to get the hover tanks?
204, but what makes these machines lethal are the soldiers inside of it. Without the soldiers, they just look like really cool toys, like I said earlier. So these are the 4 different vehicles that we brought from Fort Cavazos, Texas, to be in the parade later today, and we're just excited to be here. And you've got all of these electronics up here that you can see. There are cameras, there's lenses, you can see all around, and you I would imagine inside there's not, you can't tell us everything that's in there, but I imagine you can see pretty much everything around you. You can, so the crew of 4, you got the driver right up front in the middle, and you got a loader that puts around it, and then you got a gunner and a tank commander. The gunner is scanning for one enemy vehicle at the same time, while the tank commander has a separate camera. So basically 2 camera systems, they can go 360, identify targets, and you pass off the target from one to the other to make it one of the best, amazing platforms we have in the US Army. Colonel Stalkover, thank you so much.
Now, I know I've discussed this before, but what do you think it would be like to have your own tank and to just go into a town and do a killdozer?
No.
I mean, no?
Don't say that, John. In
Well,
Minecraft.
Do you think the local authorities be able to deal with it?
No, maybe.
No.
Hi, when Brian Kilmeade. I want you to do me a favor. I want you to
That's
click.
why they need
Killdozer 2.
That's why police need tanks, John.
Yes.
Yeah, we got to
Give them all
militarize the
tanks.
police.
They need that.
Yes. Once
Next
drones
time
take over
they-
all the warfare, we need to give them all the Abram tanks.
Next time they kneel on a black person's neck, it's gonna be with a tank.
Oh my
god. Oh god, Shab.
What, you don't like my joke? It was funny.
That was you just had a chromant, dude. That's fucking.
Wait.
It was an accident.
So Ric Flair was talking shit about us liking anime, and now they're actually naming anime in the chat.
I don't think so. I don't think so. Maybe.
What, Ric Flair? Are you a adult anime fan? I don't think they answered my question earlier.
I'm wrong. In Los Angeles, the governor of California, the mayor of Los Angeles, they're incompetent.
That was a snapshot of President Trump's speech at Fort Bragg in North Carolina this week, where the president criticized the press.
Scissor is such a gross name for anime.
California lawmakers and protesters, as well as
Is there an anime called Scissor?
now causing
I don't fucking know.
about the politicization of the military after uniformed soldiers cheered and booed in reaction to the president's political statements, which is traditionally frowned upon and could violate military regulations. This all comes as the Trump administration officials warned that.
You know what anime I did like? Remember the movie Grave of the Fireflies?
Shrek. Oh.
Grave of the Fireflies. I thought that was a good movie. That
You
was
like
anime.
anything depressing,
The
John?
president's preparing to.
What?
You like anything depressing, John?
That's true, Gene.
No,
You're
that's not
retarded.
true. I like stuff that's uplifting.
Wait, Derek.
but especially if it's depressing.
You coined a phrase that Skeppy like, chromant.
It's a chromant. Everybody has a chromant from moment to moment.
Yes, that.
Expand beyond Los Angeles. As the Washington to left-wing radicals in other parts of the country who are thinking about copycatting the violence in an effort to stop this administration's mass deportation efforts, you will not succeed. As the Washington Post puts it, this potentially opens the door to the use of military force that is the most extensive on American soil in U.S. history. And joining us now to discuss are retired Army General Steph Twitty, an MSNBC analyst and a former deputy.
Do you think if they're going to use bricks and fireworks, they should just send in troops with bricks and fireworks?
Yeah, fight fire and bricks with fire and
They
bricks.
need trebuchets with just bricks and fireworks loaded in them.
Retired Marine Corps Lieutenant Colonel
Bill Higgs. Okay, this is from Donald Trump's parade earlier. Now you got this one right.
Are you sure they got the shade for Trump right?
So do you think what is that? Is that Kim Il Sung?
That's Donald J. Trump.
Oh, who do you think's more overweight?
They look similar.
Yeah.
They're similar in facial fat distribution. Similar sag going. Who's that guy? That's JD Vance.
I know that's Kim Jong Un's grandfather, and that
It fucking looked like Lenin.
No, I think Kim Il Sung. That's forget what his grandfather's called. Kim Il Sung's his father. So, what kind of cartoons do you think they have in North Korea?
Propaganda, if that. Do you think they really need cartoons?
You know what? I could imagine they're like every cartoon is like Kim Jong Un being like the hero. Like instead of it being Superman, it's like Kim Jong Un man, and he's got a cape, and it's like get them while they're early, right? You know,
Get them while they're young.
Brainwash them while they're young and stupid.
Now,
keep them
I do know Kim Il Sung was obsessed with movies, and he abducted a South Korean director and had him produce films for North Korea. And one of the movies is, we should probably watch this for a patron movie night, was Unsung Heroes. And there were U.S. defectors from the Korean War that actually starred in the movie. Do you think we had better rifles?
I don't know. That was AKs, bayonets. Is that what I was seeing there?
Yeah, they seem pretty antiquated.
I think we have worse dancing though.
I don't know if that's an AK. I'm not a gun guy. Kind of looks like an AK.
AK variant of some sort.
No,
what's that?
Zidane would know.
Two guns would know. Where's two guns when you need them?
What's that?
Where's two guns when you need them? He'd be like, no, dumbass.
Yeah.
Fucking AK.
Yeah, I do know. I don't know why I thought of this, but with the balloon, earlier this year they were sending over the garbage, like excrement balloons, into South Korea in retaliation of them sending. Yeah, they were sending balloons over that had smartphones and stuff with foreign media, and that one song from that one movie from Seth Rogen. What was it called? Was it just
The Interview?
Yeah, the interview.
The Interview, yeah. So
Dictator
they
was
got mad, so they
Americana.
sent over like shit balloons.
Is that how Shabisky
They walk
walks?
like
Billy?
Shabisky. This is just how Shabisky walks. I know because I hung out with him in Vegas.
Yeah.
He was walking down the strip like that.
I mean, he was holding his hand straight out, all funny too, while he was doing it.
Yeah, and I kept
Yeah, but
on doing
that was
Elon
only-
Musk salute to everybody.
That was only in DC though, which it's fine, but in Las Vegas it's frowned upon.
Oh, Charles Betts says these guys having a four-way after the show.
Yeah.
Oh, fuck
How'd
yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Sorry, buddy, you're not
He's calling us
invited.
out.
Yeah, sorry, you're not invited.
You don't like four-way orgies?
Jealous much?
Charles? Yeah.
We're gonna be very
I
liberal.
think he wants
with
to make
the
it a
notion.
five-way.
Not enough room.
Somebody said it's not an AK. They're calling you out. Look at how
then tell me what it is, smartass. That's what I was hoping you'd do. I was hoping some smartass in the chat would pipe up and tell me what the fuck it actually was.
Triggered, bro.
Washington, D.C. this
Yeah,
weekend. On the
you're
streets,
right.
tanks and thousands of soldiers. In the air, flyovers.
The guns do have triggers, yeah.
There's a big price tag, as much as $45 million. It's all to honor the Army's 250th anniversary today, which is also President Trump's 79th birthday. Richard Cohn is a professor emeritus at the
He's 79. Jesus Christ.
University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill.
So is Trump.
He's going to be the first president who serves in his 80s.
At the Pentagon. Mr. Cohn, we've had military parades in the past, not a lot of them. The last one was in 1991 after the first Gulf War. Put this into some perspective for us. What have the sort of tone of military parades been like through history, and how does this one fit into that context?
Well, most of the military parades have been to celebrate and commemorate war or battlefield victories of a great historic meaning. Now, this one's a little unusual.
I know Putin had his Victory Day parade over Ukraine.
Because it's an important commemoration of 250 years of the Army's contribution.
Do you think Putin is being dishonest about classifying that as a Victory Day?
American defense and American
Wait,
society.
when?
And now it's been linked to a president.
So, do you think Putin was being dishonest classifying that day as a Victory Day? Do you think there was a notable victory that they had in Ukraine?
What? Oh, no.
Trump's birthday, which
I mean, maybe at the start, but
Republican Senator Rand Paul.
Oh, Biden was in his 80s? Oh, I thought he didn't reach his 80s.
Of Kentucky
I thought he was in his 70s, and that was the big thing. He was all decrepit and
Biden is like a year or two younger or older than Trump.
Concerned
Like,
about the message.
very small margin.
Wrong message. He said this is more fitting for North Korea or the former Soviet Union. What do you say to that? What's your reaction to that?
Well, I can understand because in a sense it's those parades and commemorations are always meant to buttress the power.
Oh, he's 82 years old, so I guess he did make it into his 80s.
The place of autocrats in their society, and linking this to President Trump smacks of that. And also most of our parades are of the people.
We're in a geriatric state. All our presidents are getting older.
Involved in the military and not of hardware. Flyovers, yes, for events, but we're used to those.
The next president after Trump, if we have a president after Trump, they're going to be like a Weekend at Bernie's president. They're going to have suffered 2 strokes and they just come out in a wheelchair.
Biden. That was already Biden.
They're not even operating their own wheelchair. They're just going to have somebody else coming out
Stephen
pushing
Hawking
him in the
president.
wheelchair. And then whoever is the president's aide, they're going to like put their ear up to their mouth like, yeah, what's that? Huh? And they're obviously not moving their lips. And it's like, oh, they say peace to all.
Those and sporting events and so on. So this one's really
while the president shits
Wants
himself.
to show off the best army in the world. He wants to show the world the might of the United States. What do you say to that?
Well, I think that's redundant. I mean, the world knows of our military power, and the American people do too, and they also know of the great success that this army has had in battle and in wars over many decades and even over 2 centuries. So I don't think that needs to be brought to their attention. And the attention, given what's going on in Los Angeles and given the president's threats, are really not the way we have commemorated our military.
What message do you see this parade sending, both at home and abroad?
Well, I think it sets the message because of President Trump's kind of making it all about him as much as he can.
You think what he's saying is accurate? Do you think Trump's making it about him?
Oh, no, it's never about him. Yeah. Never. You call him Trump always, chickens out. Yeah, he just brushes that off like the Teflon Don he was back in 2016.
So
he will never.
If he was professional, he would have the parade around a week after his birthday to try to distance it from himself. But the fact that he had it on his birthday and he didn't think that, you know what, maybe this is going to make me look a bit odd, bit awkward. Like it's probably going to make people think I'm doing this. I made the decision to have it on that day for myself. It seems like he's not that wise making that decision.
I think it's Flag Day, you libtard sensitive cuck.
The United
States. Yeah, what he really wants to say is...
You don't even care about your fucking country.
Well, it's June, so it's Flag Day month without the month and the L.
You just hate the flag, Crow. You think people should not go to prison for defacing the flag?
I think in future warfare might not be as effective as it's been in the past. It's really, in a sense, disgusting. And I understand Rand Paul's and many other people's doubts about the wisdom of having such a parade.
I don't know. This guy's a libtard cuck. Clearly, he lives in his mother's basement.
He's old.
5 services.
Yeah.
His mom's 170.
He's clearly just some fat neckbeard. has no accomplishments.
They gave a speech at Fort Bragg recently. What do you make of the way the president interacts with the military?
Well, he interacts with the military really at a distance. He tries to link himself to it, even though he never served. The real bottom line is that he has been politicizing the military. If you look at his speeches, West Point, Fort Bragg, they're really much of it is wandering and inappropriate, and not the commemoration and talking about the military, talking about the American people's sacrifices in the military and the other important parts of military service to American society.
Richard Cohn, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Thanks, Ricky.
Joining us now is Peter Baker, New York Times chief White House correspondent and MSNBC political analyst.
Oh, see, he just said his name was Richard Cohen right before you said that. I thought you were thanking that guy, not Ricky in the chat.
I did too.
Do you think? Here, let's look at this.
In history's darkest hour, the United States Army was on the front lines. From the beaches of Normandy to the islands of the Pacific, the greatest generation faced down tyranny and turned the tide. From bombers to fighters to transports, U.S. Army aircraft started to thunder across the skies in World War II. And take a look up there, ladies and gentlemen. Flying overhead right now. They are fast, they are fierce, and famously used to the Doolittle raid over Tokyo. Leading up front, the mighty B-25 Mitchell. Up next, the Cadillac of the sky, the B-51 Mustang. From the sky, we're back down on the ground. In World War II, one vehicle led the charge, the legendary quarter-ton 4x4 command recon vehicle, the Jeep. You might have a Jeep in your driveway, but not like this. The U.S. Army truck quarter-ton 4x4 command reconnaissance, better known as the Jeep, was an iconic vehicle of World War II and was the world's first mass-produced four-wheel drive vehicle. The Army used the Jeep for almost every military activity, including command vehicles, scout cars, and medical ambulances. Fast, rugged, the Jeep became a symbol of American ingenuity.
I know Putin. He's been deploying World War II era vehicles. Imagine you're in the front lines and you're in the trenches being sniped at by the Ukrainian forces. They're sitting back up and one of those World War II style Jeeps just pulls up. It's like a paddy wagon and smoke's just plummeting out of the exhaust pipe.
Hop in.
Whoa, John, paddy wagon's racist.
Yeah.
Do you know where that term comes from? No, do you know where that term comes from?
Locking up Irishmen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is the 82nd Airborne Ceremonial Band. The 82nd received the nickname All-American.
Well, actually, my ancestors are from Ireland. There's a lot of Irish in my blood.
So it's your word. Never mind. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, it's also my word. I'm Irish.
Oh,
wow.
This name remains.
And I find that offensive.
I think John's a self-hating Irishman.
I want to see more troops in powdered wigs marching along.
In a global fight like World War II, the U.S. Army knew our troops needed more than courage. They needed innovation. Uniforms evolved for every environment, but olive drab remained the mark of the American soldier. Shaped by lessons from the trenches of World War I, the Army introduced two battlefield essentials. The M1 helmet, tough, stable, and built to protect under fire.
Gene,
The M1 Garand.
Taylor's in Maryland. We need to quit this, and you need to go visit her.
Now invite Taylor over. She can be on the podcast live from your house.
Yeah.
Nah.
Live from your mama's
Meet
basement.
up with her after the podcast. I'm probably going to stay up all night.
No, you
The American
guys.
troops are very clear edge.
Yes,
General George S.
kids,
Patton called the M1 rifle the greatest battle implement ever designed.
Now or never.
And history proved him right.
Where you at, Taylor? Give the address of the hotel you're staying at. In the chat.
Oh, damn. Okay, now he's totally down.
Yeah.
Get the lube ready, Taylor.
The 82nd Airborne Division. The unit is best known for their bravery on
John,
duty.
I will
Meet up at
donate.
Fort McHenry.
I will donate for some
Destroyed German
rubbers.
supply lines after fighting for 33 days straight.
I mean, what?
The 101st Airborne Division, based out of Fort Campbell, Kentucky, traces its lineage back to 1918 when it first established as the 101st Division.
I already went ahead and sent Taylor your address, Gene. She's on the way.
Better not.
I'm just kidding.
Operation since its inception. From parachuting behind enemy lines on D-Day to leading helicopter assaults in Vietnam, the 101st redefined modern warfare. In the 50s, the screen
She will be sending you gay
during the fight for civil rights.
Oh, they're
magazines.
in Cockeysville. Yeah, that's in the county.
Yep, Cockeysville.
Extends as far as the
John loves
It
Cockeysville.
was like Cock-Eyesville to me.
terrorism in Iraq and Afghanistan. The Screaming Eagles continue to lead the way as tomorrow's division in today's Army. The iconic Sherman tank is here, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't know.
Oh.
Like, if we hang out, if we do it in the city, it's just going to need a guide to guide her through Baltimore. Drive down the wrong street and you're dead.
Oh.
God damn it, Jesus Christ.
What? That's what it's like in Baltimore.
You're not
You
being
need-
very...
It's kind of like if you're exploring the jungle, you need a guide with their machete and stuff. They'll tell you, like, hey, don't step right there. You'll fall into a pit. No, don't touch that plant. You'll drop dead immediately.
Like they're
Baltimore
going to
City,
be walking you
gotta-
down the street, Like, don't step on that bum shit right there. Don't bum shit right there.
It'll
It's
explode.
so dangerous.
Dude, Chap, Gene doesn't remember the blood stain we saw in Baltimore. You remember the
That
blood
is
stain,
true.
right?
Yeah, I was assuming that some bitch was on her period, but somebody could have died.
It was a pretty big puddle of blood. But it could have been period blood.
I just coughed up a bunch of blood before we went to the aquarium.
It's an accident.
Yeah, John just jizzed a bunch of blood.
I didn't want to concern you guys.
In World War II, it became one of the most influential tank designs of the 20th century. The M4 tank was nicknamed the Sherman tank.
Instead of a snot rocket, it's a cock rocket.
1,000 produced during World War II. The Sherman tank was in active service until 1957. In World War II, the M16 half-track was a force to be reckoned with. It was a self-propelled anti-aircraft weapon with speed, firepower, and grit. Nicknamed the meat chopper, its quad 50 caliber mount could unleash 2,300 rounds a minute. Quite devastating. It served through Korea, Vietnam, and beyond. Remains in use in U.S. allies to this day. The M16 half-track brings the fight wherever it rolls.
They didn't really go into a lot of detail about the practicality of this vehicle.
Yeah, not much to say about this guy.
Well, I think the half-track, they stopped using that after World War II. I don't think... maybe having half-treads, half-wheels probably caused a lot of problems.
The U.S. Army...
It seemed like Russia and North Korea had a lot more people participating.
Transportation Corps motto states, nothing happens until something moves. That was never more true than with this. Look at this, the 2.5-ton Chevrolet Deuce and a
I
half.
don't know, they seem very low energy, and they seem...
10,000 pounds of cargo and was the backbone...
Not very patriotic.
The Allies supplied after D-Day in World War II.
Those goose steps that you saw in North Korea and so forth, look how much vigor and energy they had. Why do you think that was? They seem to love their fat fuck of a leader much more.
They're treated better over there.
Yeah, obviously.
But it is.
Oh, and they're also towing other fucking vehicles as well.
Oh, wait. I think this is an older video.
Drums
No,
on
that
the
horse. No, that horse is still alive.
Oh, that was a Hitler parade.
Now, let's roll on to the future of Army readiness.
Okay, let's get to the next topic.
Well, we are getting breaking.
Have you been keeping up with this, Crow?
At the moment, explosions have been heard in the capital.
Israel and Iran.
Explosions have been heard. There were
Yeah, they've been exchanging ballistics with one another.
reports.
Yeah, apparently Israel has the air superiority, and they're like, "Oh, USA, you want to help us?" And Iran is like, well, in their words, they're like a week away from having the uranium purity enough for like 10 nuclear missile heads in like a week or something like that.
Do you really want Iran to have access to nukes?
Well, wasn't that the fucking thing back in like 2002?
Yeah. Well, Pakistan, they were making a big deal about Pakistan acquiring nukes. They have nukes. They haven't really used their nukes at all. So North Korea has nukes now, and they haven't really used them. To be fair, I do think North Korea, compared to any other country, they're the only country that is corrupt enough and has a crazy enough leader where they might actually use them. But I think Israel has nukes. Why can't Iran have nukes? Why doesn't the United States and Russia? Why don't we just divide our nukes since we have 90-something% of all the world's nukes? Just give every single country equal supply of nukes.
To strike
got a
Iran.
nuke.
Israel
You
has
get a
declared a
nuke.
state
You
of
get a
emergency.
nuke.
with a
Yeah,
ban on
nukes
gatherings.
for everybody.
We'll bring you
Look
more
under
information
your
as it
seat.
becomes available, but just a few more breaking news lines I can bring you. The Israeli Defense Minister has imposed a special state of emergency, as we were hearing there. That is in place immediately. Israeli radio is declaring that a state of emergency has been declared across all of Israel that will ban gatherings and the suspension of studies at all institutions. Now, Benjamin Netanyahu is currently chairing an extraordinary meeting of the cabinet and the security mini cabinet. And this is in the context of rising tensions over the last few weeks between Iran and Israel. US President Donald Trump's comments recently have added to that sense of conflict as well, saying on Thursday that a strike could very well happen. These are the latest pictures from Tehran you're seeing now of those explosions. And we do have Tawhid Asadi.
No, those explosions don't look that big.
Us on the phone from Tehran. Tawhid, what more can you tell us about what is going on there in Tehran?
Well, it's about 3:46 local time here in Tehran, and based on what we have so far, sounds of several explosions have been heard across the capital, not necessarily.
So, I don't know. It seems like Israel is sort of lagging behind. I mean, look at what they've been doing to Gaza. It seems like they can easily turn an entire block into a pile of debris and bodies. I don't know. It seems like they need to get their act together. I don't see a lot of collateral here.
Necessarily at one particular point, and there are several of them. One of them was heard, and I personally heard that around 5-6 minutes ago. Another one was heard just.
Who else is going to get involved? So now we have Yemen, we have Israel, Palestine, Lebanon. Now Iran's involved. Who else is going to get involved?
Probably Iraq, maybe.
Half an hour ago, and I can say that we've got at least 6-7 minimum explosion sounds reported to be heard in the city, in different parts of the city, western parts, the southern parts of the city. But still, we know that there is state TV has confirmed the happening of this explosions. But when it comes to the cause,
Do you think this is a threat to U.S. national security? Do we need to send troops over there, stabilize the region? Because
No.
America's really good at stabilizing regions across the globe, don't you think?
Well,
from Iranians.
We're here.
yes and no, but the Middle East, no. It's always going to be a fucking shit show. I do believe, this is just my opinion, fucking just let them do it. Just let them figure figure it out. Because the French came in, Napoleon tried to come in and get some. Shut the fuck. Oh, it's not like I do like okay. As soon as I fucking make fun of you, you fucking fold. But no, I don't think, because Napoleon tried to do it in the Middle East. The Russians tried to do it in the Middle East in like the 80s, 90s. We tried to do it in the Middle East in like the 90s, early 2000s, even late 2000s. Yeah, it's not going to work. No matter how advanced you are, there's still going to be a shit ton of people just like living in caves, hiding in caves. And
I know Britain, they attempted to annex Afghanistan 3 times. The Anglo-Saxon Wars. And they were the big military power at the time. But it seems like people don't learn from their past mistakes. But I don't know. You don't think America did a good job bringing stability to Iraq and Afghanistan? You don't think they did a good job?
They did everything right.
It's a paradise.
Sources, and right now that I'm
Trump paradise.
Footages, there are pictures coming
Trump
from
Gaza
different
paradise.
parts of the city, including Chiefkai Park, including a neighborhood in the western part of the capital.
We should probably have name tags so when we talk to each other, people aren't like, "Who's Crow?"
Crow, we call him the midget skinhead of the group.
Could not be.
No, that's
he
is. That is true.
I got hair.
Oh, you better.
Well, Crow joined his cult.
You better keep that shit.
Well, he joined his cult in South Dakota, and
I joined a cult, a sex cult,
and they had him shave his head.
Yeah.
Reports coming from the Israeli side saying that they have announced an emergency situation, meaning that there is going to be a very strong possibility for them to be involved. We heard the statements from the Israeli defense minister and also the Israeli radio saying that the army, the air forces are said to be involved in this situation. And we know that so far the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu is currently chairing an extraordinary meeting of the cabinet and the security mini cabinet, and that means a sort of systematic initiation or a serious situation.
They're just looping the same footage here.
They do that a lot.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a
targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's very survival. This operation will continue for as
So
many
what do they think Iran was going to do? So if they have any intelligence on them, I don't know, planning on carrying out an attack on Israel, are they going to share that? Hey, they were actually, I don't know, orchestrating their ballistics where they had a decent amount of data to show that they were about to fire on Israel. So I have a feeling that, I don't know, they kind of just want an excuse to attack Iran.
Yeah, but
to remove this threat.
Doesn't Israel have the Iron Dome? So they have the defensive ability. So why are they going on the offense?
Because why not? The best defense is a good offense.
For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel's destruction. They backed up their genocidal rhetoric with a program to develop nuclear weapons. In recent years, Iran has produced
Okay, that's funny. Genocidal rhetoric coming from Netanyahu.
Nuclear energy is different than nuclear weapons. So there was this nuclear energy deal with the United States. So do they have any evidence to show that they were going against that particular deal and that they've actually been developing nuclear weapons?
For 9 atom bombs.
Because
in recent months, Iran is...
Well, I don't know. Maybe there's some projection because didn't Israel develop nuclear bombs in secret?
And we don't know how many they have because they haven't disclosed them? Oh, yeah.
That it has never taken before. Steps to weaponize this enriched uranium. And if not stopped, Iran could produce a nuclear weapon in a very short time. It could be a year. It could be within a few months, less than a year. This is a clear and present danger to Israel's very survival. 80 years ago, the Jewish people were the victims of a Holocaust perpetrated by the Nazi regime. Today, the Jewish state refuses to be a victim of a nuclear Holocaust perpetrated by the Iranian regime.
Yeah. So instead, you subject other territories to Holocausts, like Gaza.
Now, as Prime Minister, I've made it clear time and again.
Are you still getting your info from CNN? No, this is OAN, and this is a fucking right-leaning news fucking channel. So yeah, we're getting all of our info from CNN. You dumb fuck, Steve Q.
Those who call for our
sorry.
Yeah, somebody has opposing views, so they just believe whatever the left-wing media tells them.
To develop the means to achieve.
Because again, I'm sure they get their information from a wide array of different sources, and I'm sure they get their information from sources that aren't just journalistic sources.
That goal. Tonight, Israel backs those words with action.
From WKYC Studios, this is What's Next with Russ Mitchell and Lena Lai.
We begin with breaking news from the Middle East tonight. The Israeli military has conducted airstrikes against Iran in a dramatic escalation that raises fear of an all-out war between the two nations. And we've just learned a top Iranian general and Iranian nuclear scientists were killed in the strike.
U.S. officials tonight say there is no American involvement in the strikes. Israel has declared a state of emergency.
So under the Obama administration, one of the things they did is they developed and implemented the Stuxnet virus. So do you know what that is?
I've heard it before. I'm not very privy to it.
It was this sleeperware program where it had when it comes to malware, a lot of times they'll have exploits known as a 0 day. And a 0 day is essentially it's how many days you have until the corporation or the whoever owns the program is actually able to secure or patch up that sort of exploit. So on the deep web, if a hacker finds an exploit, sometimes they'll sell it on the deep web for a lot of money. And it's very rare for some kind of malware to have more than one 0 day. And this one had 4. And it was designed to pretty much replicate and place itself on as many different pieces of hardware as it could, getting on people's phones, getting in flash drives, and it spread far more quickly than any other program that people who worked in cybersecurity have ever dealt with. And then it was designed to find its way onto the servers and the nuclear facility in Iran. And the pylons and the generators, it was designed to, as they rotate, to disrupt the rotation and cause them to like oscillate back and forth real quickly. And it destroyed their nuclear energy program. And it was designed to terminate at the date that was the end of Obama's second term. So who do you think was behind it?
Obama.
Maybe.
Yeah, we have to always go back to Obama.
And warns of an imminent missile and drone attack from Iran in retaliation.
But isn't Iran allies with Russia? So Russia's gonna have to.
Yeah. They've been selling kamikaze drones to them. Now, Iran has invested in a cyber warfare unit. So they do have one of the, I guess, strongest, saboteur sort of divisions of that implement cyber warfare.
Relations between the U.S. and Iran appear to be making progress, a deal Israel viewed as unacceptable. We'll bring you more details on this as they become available.
Israel's military says Iran has fired around 100 drones towards its territory after Israel launched a major attack on Iran overnight.
Oh, we got a verified YouTuber in the chat, Trevor Coleman.
Yeah. To some of the pictures we have here, these are showing Israeli Air Force jets taking off before the attack. Israel says it's targeting the country's nuclear program.
What kind of content do they produce?
They have 5 subscribers.
Really?
I've seen it before. I've seen verified channels with very little subs. I don't know.
What the fuck?
You can accomplish it.
And this is the moment of blast hit the capital, Tehran.
I have more videos and more subscribers than this guy does.
Get verified, Crow.
Hit.
God damn it.
Well, now it's kind of meaningless to get verified if anybody can do it.
Cities too.
You said it's a back in the day verification. Maybe there was a process you could go through at one point.
The armed forces, Mohammed Bagheri, and the top commander of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard, Hossein Salami, were killed in the Israeli strikes. 2 senior nuclear scientists were also killed, the former head of Iran's Atomic Energy Organization and the president of the Islamic Azad University.
So somebody says Obama, blame everything on him. Wow, ignorance is bliss. Do you think we're pro or anti-Obama?
Also, we were joking as well.
Yeah.
It follows days of speculation that Israel was planning to launch military action despite US efforts to negotiate a nuclear deal with Tehran. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu says the operation could last several days.
We targeted Iran's main enrichment facility in Natanz. We targeted Iran's leading nuclear scientists working on the Iranian bomb. We also struck at the heart of Iran's ballistic missile program.
So they're saying a bomb. So do they actually have any evidence that they were actually constructing a bomb? They were trying to deploy or install the nuclear tech onto some kind of warhead.
Last year, Iran fired 300 ballistic missiles at Israel. Each of these missiles carries a ton of explosives and threatens the lives of hundreds of people. Soon, those missiles...
Is this not ironic? Netanyahu's like, oh, they're bombing the shit. Well, they have the capability of bombing the shit out of us, but Netanyahu's bombing the shit out of Gaza. And
well, it's okay when they do it because they were attacked first.
Oh, yeah.
Israel has never engaged any brutality towards the other party. It's 100% the other side. In Israel, their hands are completely clean.
Threatening the lives, not of hundreds, but of millions. Iran is gearing up to produce 10,000 of those ballistic missiles within 3 years. Now, just imagine. Imagine 10,000 tons of TNT landing on a...
I kind of agree with Casey in the chat. Casey loaded. Yeah, we probably shouldn't get involved, and I don't think Israel needs our support.
Country.
No, they don't.
This is an intolerable threat. It too must be stopped.
All right, let's get a sense of some of the geography.
Well, I mean, do you think they have enough bombs left over to finish the job in Gaza?
Man, I hope they weren't overzealous with those bombs and get them spinning them all willy-nilly. Hopefully we gave them enough to, hold off for a while, right? I mean, we gave
Well, they've taken out all their hospitals, but I still see some buildings left over. And there's still plenty of refugee camps. I mean, Jesus.
Well, speaking of hospitals, what about that airplane in India?
We're going to cover that.
Okay.
announced it launched a major military operation against Iran's nuclear program and senior military commanders. The Israeli military targeted dozens of sites in the country. Iranian state media says parts of Tehran have been hit, and the UN's nuclear watchdog, the IAEA, confirmed Iran's main nuclear enrichment site at Natanz was also
Jesus is coming back, and I think they're spawn camping.
God damn it, Scappy. Why would you do that?
Responded. Israel says Iran launched around 100 drones at its territory.
I don't know. I don't think Jesus had magical powers. I think he was deceiving the public.
Warning sirens have been heard in
think Jesus was a huckster?
Yeah.
He's a magician.
Well, I mean, the shit he did was walk on water and turn water into wine. It seems like, I don't know. Have you seen Penn and Teller? I don't think what he did was that impressive.
I watched Chris Angel walk on water. The mind freak.
I think it's a conspiracy.
Speak now.
No, I'd like to go with the thumb move from Family Guy, like how Jesus would.
Bad Crow. Don't reference Family Guy when we're trying to make jokes. It's cheap.
On the program. Good morning. We'll get into some of the details very quickly, but just firstly, your headline thoughts about what's happened overnight.
Well, first of all, this is perhaps something of a surprise because it preempts US-Iran nuclear talks that were due for this weekend. So clearly, Israel preferring the element of surprise rather than waiting for those talks to conclude. Secondly, the Americans very, very clearly stating that they were not involved.
See, they were trying not to bomb them, and they were trying to starve them all out. And then the world was freaking out and stuff. I mean, come on. Pick a lane. Let them commit mass genocide in some manner.
Wait, John, go back to where it says his name.
Why?
I have a joke.
No.
They may well be dragged into the aerial.
Well, his name was
from any retaliation.
Shashank, and his last name was not Redemption. So,
one sec.
The third point is this is critical. This is very early days.
What?
We are probably only.
Never mind. Stick to the Family Guy jokes.
Of what will be a multi-day Israeli campaign. So, for instance, I note with interest, Israel has not yet attacked Iran's most deeply buried nuclear site.
Oh, Skeppy says Crow's joke. Hey, remember this joke from a show?
In a place called Fordo, but I would be surprised if that remains the case in the coming hours and days.
Crow's other joke. Remember this movie?
What about the
Sorry, I like the Shawshank joke, Crow.
Everybody
The
leave
Israeli
Crow
public claims that
alone.
Iran was
Don't be an enabler, Dirt.
accelerating work towards a nuclear bomb. In my opinion, whilst Iran has conducted some weapons-related activity since 2003, when it shut down its formal weapons program, I don't believe that is the real trigger for this attack. I believe the real trigger is that Israel sees a historic opportunity to act politically at a period where US-Iran talks were looking relatively unsuccessful, in which Iran was looking exceptionally weak, in which its principal...
See, they need a... There's the pager attack.
Sorry,
they need to perfect some kind of sonic weapon where they blast out some kind of sound wave that's at just the right frequency where it causes the batteries and everyone's phones to just explode. What kind of, like, how much devastation do you think that would cause?
All of the devastation, John.
They didn't do that with the frequency, but they did that with I don't know if it was in this area, but yeah, there was this one company that sent out pagers that blew up. This was back in like 2020, maybe.
Yeah, I remember that.
That was pretty recent.
Yeah, I don't think it was even that long ago. I think
less than a year ago.
2023.
But I just mentioned that, the pager attack. So they need to go one step up.
Oh, I thought you said Patriot attack.
Patriot
like,
attack.
I didn't do it. I didn't fucking do it.
Decimated by Israel last year, and in which Iran's nuclear program, particularly its stockpile of enriched uranium, was expanding dramatically. And all of those...
And I think, so, an EMP, if it's strong enough, it can completely destroy a piece of technology, especially digital tech. So it'll make it inoperable. So what if a country does invest in, like, talking about super weapons, just emitting this giant EMP that just disables all the world's technology?
Those factors together.
How long do you think it would take us to recover? maybe Israel should do that, and then like pretty much all of the tech. I don't know, because the Earth has curvature, so I know how efficient it would be, like spreading across the entire globe. But what about like some EMP sort of super weapon?
So would the EMP take out like Wall Street and the stock market and everything?
Yeah, maybe the Amish are going to work on that giant EMP device that just wipes out all of the world's technology.
They're just like, now you're like us. We have so many barns.
And they know, yeah, they're used to living like that. So then they'll control the rest of the globe. They have the advantage.
Israel decide this was the time to take the great risk of attacking those nuclear sites, but also clearly much more widely than just nuclear sites, also Iran's military leadership.
And just give us an assessment of the words overnight from Benjamin Netanyahu describing...
Wait, someone said like in Call of Duty. Was that actually a thing in Call of Duty?
The repeated line that we know.
Well, if it is, they stole my idea.
About the country facing an existential threat from Iran. What about your assessment of the state of the nuclear program in Iran right now?
Well, Iran.
What about the state of the nuclear program? And he's like roasting a marshmallow. He's making s'mores.
A number of nuclear bombs.
Sorry, that's what I
Here
would
in the
do.
WRL Live Center, we are following that breaking news out of the Middle East. The Israeli military launching a massive attack on Iran earlier today. The strikes killing more than 80 people, including top military officials. And Iran says Israel will pay a hefty price for this attack and its miscalculation. Rebecca Castor has more on what President Donald Trump is saying this afternoon.
So, how significant do you think their retaliation will be?
Israeli Air Force jets taking off to intercept at least 100 Iranian drones Friday. Retaliation from
Wait,
Iran
didn't
last night.
Israel get some F-15s?
From us?
Yeah.
Well, we've been giving them handouts when it comes to military tech for quite a while, so they probably have a lot of aircraft that have been provided to them by the U.S.
We will not let the world's most dangerous regime get the world's most dangerous weapons.
In the dark of night, Israel launched a wave of strikes on Iran, targeting its nuclear program and military sites. Israel says at least 3 of Iran's top military commanders were killed, and its largest uranium enrichment site was damaged.
When enemies vow to destroy you, believe them. When enemies build weapons of mass death, stop them.
In Washington, President Donald Trump says he was aware Israel was going to attack, although he was advocating for a diplomatic solution.
Oh yeah, the United States knew about the whole strike months, or at least a month before, and played it off like, oh yeah, okay, whatever's gonna happen is gonna happen.
So, do you think Israel knew about the Hamas October 7th attacks?
Probably, and then played it off as a no, it's gonna be a terrorist attack. It's gonna be a terrorist attack. And then
well, I'm shocked that they didn't see that coming. They were literally coming into the country through air gliders or hang gliders, so it's just how did they not detect that?
On Truth Social, Trump wrote, "I gave Iran chance after chance to make a deal. I told them in the strongest of words to just do it, no matter how hard they tried, no matter how close they got. They just couldn't get it done."
It was quite clear that Iran was playing for time and was defiantly opposing any real resolution to this growing crisis.
So someone says, look what Israel did to Palestine. Father USA, Iran coming for USA in England. It's scary. What? Are you wishing death upon England and the USA, Casey?
Israel says more attacks are to come. It closed its...
I don't know, America. We got all our tanks. Didn't you see all the tanks that Trump was showing off? We got all the half tracks and stuff.
Embassies around the world.
He's working on the Golden Globe. He's going to build a wall around the entire country, and he's deporting all the infiltrators. So I don't know.
And Israeli officials are urging citizens to not display Jewish symbols in public.
Ooh, fireworks. Jesus. Now, if you were in Tel Aviv, do you think you would walk outside on your balcony and just look up and watch the show?
I mean, look, it's one of those things. How much can a duck and cover do if a warhead is headed right for your home?
Well, get in the basement.
Well, what if you're on like the 3rd floor of an apartment building or a hotel?
Most of them will have complexes that
maybe this is lacking in survival instincts, but maybe that's just how much faith the Israeli people have in the Iron Dome. And I will say this: I'm not gonna, be the guy to be like, oh, well, it serves them right. How does it feel, Israel, to be bombed? I'm not gonna go there. I will say this, and I don't say this disingenuously or try to like talk down to anybody. But if you live by the sword and celebrate the death of people in such a manner, then you may die by the sword in such a manner.
But everyone that lives within a set of borders, they all have the same views that the government has, because things are that simple. Just like in the United States, everyone loves Trump.
John's going back to everyone's a Borg.
That's the thing. Well, I'm not saying that that was not my implication that everyone in Israel supports Israel, because plenty of them don't.
So you're saying you hate Israel, therefore you hate Jewish people. Is that what you're saying?
Well,
somebody had to say
you can't have one without the other.
Also, by saying that everyone is a Borg, John, you're saying that everyone watches Star Trek. No one watches Star Trek.
I think a lot of people watch Star Trek. I'm pretty sure that
not all of them. Not enough for a Borg. Not enough for a Borg.
On Israel. Iran's Revolutionary Guard says it attacked dozens of targets, including military centers and air bases. Smoke has been seen rising over the skyscrapers of Tel Aviv.
Why is she wearing parachute pants in this kind of situation?
That is, honestly, I'll admit, that's a little gaudy for World War III.
That's the important thing.
Putting on the parachutes for World War III is just a little bit gaudy.
Hey, it's not World War III yet.
Explosions have also been heard in Jerusalem. Tonight's bombardment is in retaliation for Israel strikes on Iran last night, which targeted military and nuclear sites. Israel said the attacks were vital to prevent Iran from developing a nuclear weapon. The country's spiritual leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, promised his country would inflict heavy blows in response. Well, this was the scene in Tel Aviv in Israel just an hour or two ago. There have been huge explosions in the sky over central Israel, although it is unclear what's from missile strikes and what is Israel intercepting them with its Iron Dome. Tonight,
I think C4 kamikaze drones, that's the future to warfare.
Israel says it struck a nuclear facility in Isfahan, and that is in addition to last
Because you fly in just 3-4 demolition drones in the right spots of a building, and you blow them up. The whole building collapses in its footprint.
Strikes on
I think poop balloons.
Facility at
99 poop balloons.
Well, our first report
going to the river.
Lucy Williamson, who's in Tel Aviv.
In bunkers and stairwells, they listened. To Tel Aviv, under fire from Iran. Defenses scrambling above a city of civilians and military bases. From ballistic missiles, arriving minutes after.
So, why do you think Iran's attacking them currently? Do you think something provoked it? Yeah.
Well, no, they're.
I like all the dead air, but go ahead, Crow.
Oh, yeah, you like all the dead air, and I immediately fucking tried to say something. You're like, oh, there's dead air.
Well, not you, it's the other two co-hosts, but go ahead.
Oh, right, yeah, but it's not like Crow was about to say something, fuck me and Shad.
Shit, what the hell? I was gonna say a whole bunch of stuff, but go on, Crow.
Oh, then now you have to
Such a
fucking
penis.
You have to put what was your question again?
Why do you think Iran's attacking them? Do you think there's someone who instigated? Do you think they were provoked somehow?
Iran is not attacking. They're defending themselves because Israel is just like, oh shit, they got a fucking ton of nuclear capabilities now, and they could make a nuclear bomb. And they're just like, oh yeah, well we're gonna forget about Palestine for a minute, and we're gonna go after Iran.
So you think Israel's just defending themselves?
They want to think that they're defending themselves, but at the same time, it's a
so you're saying
strike.
That
Preemptive strike.
They're being two-faced, so they're not really trying to defend themselves. They're just looking for an excuse.
Well, yeah, I mean, because like,
so what you're saying is you hate Jews?
No, if they, because they are eventually going to get the Palestinian land, and so they're just like they're just like, yeah, we're gonna get that land. Can we get some more from outside? And they're just like, yeah, Iran is going after us. Iran's not going after.
I don't think they're going to be able to claim any land from Iran. I mean, they don't really share a border.
The launch. Impacts felt inside shaking buildings.
For the we don't.
Tonight, missiles are being fired at Israel, fired at Tel Aviv. This is the response Israel was expecting. And all across the country, people are listening to the sound of Israel and Iran at war. Missile defense systems were also activated over Jerusalem. Israeli media reported several impacts across the country, including near military sites. A direct hit to this building reportedly left people trapped inside. Israel began striking Iran overnight. The nuclear enrichment site in Natanz, one of the first to be hit.
Well, hey, when Iran does it, they're a terrorist state. When Israel does it, it's okay. They're just defending themselves.
It's a peaceful protest.
Prime Minister for decades, hit in what he said was a last chance to stop Iran making a nuclear bomb.
Damn.
Air defenses, missile sites, nuclear scientists, and military leaders, including the head of Iran's armed forces, wiped out in a series of nationwide strikes.
Now, those scientists that were killed, do you think those scientists were actually working on developing nuclear weapons? Or do you think those scientists were working on nuclear energy?
We'll never know, John.
Now, if they weren't working on nuclear weapons and they were working in like a nuclear energy program, do you think they would count as civilian deaths?
But what if they were working on weapons, John? What if they can prove that?
Well, then they need to prove it.
Oh.
It can't just be speculation.
Homer Simpson worked in a fucking nuclear power plant, so
he was working on weapons.
That show. Yeah.
An attack involving two
Homer was a terrorist.
working with covert intelligence teams at a secret base inside Iran.
Well, I mentioned that with the Obama administration, the Stuxnet virus. So it seemed like they knew quite a bit about the facility where the project was taking place. They knew how to program this virus that replicated until it found its way to a very specific place, like on the planet. It's like an air gap, so it's not even connected to the internet. So if they knew, like they had that much information where they were able to program all of those specifics into that piece of malware, and I know the United States is collaborating very closely with Israel, do you think they would probably have notable proof or evidence that they were actually trying to mount like some kind of nuclear bomb onto a projectile or develop some kind of nuclear explosive? Because if all they have is nuclear generators, then I don't know. I don't think that's enough to excuse attacking them.
These pictures from Israel's spy agency are said to show commandos firing at a missile launcher during this morning's attack. Their prime minister said the clock on Iran's nuclear ambitions had run out.
Moments ago, Israel launched Operation Rising Lion, a targeted military operation to roll back the Iranian threat to Israel's...
So Mark in the chat says Iran has been working on enriching uranium for over 10 years. I'm aware of that. That's why I was discussing the Stuxnet attack with the Obama administration. So we're well aware that they've been working with uranium and they've been trying to develop, I guess, nuclear tech. The question is, are they trying to develop nuclear weapons? And is there any evidence to support that? Because there's a difference between nuclear energy. So Japan has a bunch of nuclear power plants, but Japan doesn't have any nuclear weapons. So those two things don't automatically go together.
But so my biggest thing is that Iran. So apparently someone had to be pedantic about our pronunciation of Iran. But the the Israelis and why? I mean, it's a preemptive strike between the Israelis and the Palestinians, or the Israelis and the Iranians.
Wait, it's not Iran. It's
no.
Iran.
Apparently there's an EW whatever the rank. Yeah.
Iran.
Yeah, you got to say it the same way.
Philistine.
This operation will continue for as many days as it takes to remove this threat. For decades, the tyrants of Tehran have brazenly, openly called for Israel.
He said bottom left has no idea. They're calling you out, Crow.
That's okay. I'll just drink some more and absolutely have every single
Iran. An enormous
Iran.
And that the consequences
Iran
would bring it to ruin.
It's Iran, not Iran.
Oh, roll the R.
They should not imagine
Iran.
it's over. No. They started this. They launched a war. We will not allow them to escape unscathed from the major crime they have committed.
There's their supreme leader. I always forget his
Iran has
name.
also now reported unconfirmed signs of radiation at the Natanz nuclear site.
I call on all parties to exercise maximum restraint to avoid...
So I believe he is on their currency. So when are we going to see Donald Trump on the U.S. currency?
He wanted to do it on the fucking $10,000 bill, but guess what? You can't do that because $10,000 back in the... I don't know the history of it, but...
$10,000 is like just a few dollars in today's money.
Oh, yeah, it's like $5.
Yeah.
Inflation.
Iran has also now reported unconfirmed...
We're going to need a $200 bill, which is going to be like the new $20 bill in terms of its use. And Trump's going to be face of the $200 bill.
Firm signs of radiation at the Natanz nuclear site.
I call on all parties to exercise maximum restraint to avoid further escalation. I reiterate that any military action that jeopardizes the safety and security of nuclear facilities risks grave consequences for the people of Iran, the region, and beyond.
A former general in Israel's Air Force said there were limits to what military force could achieve.
I think we can say pretty much easily this was the most complicated and actually complicated, probably dangerous operation that Israel ever did in its history. We had a huge military success.
I don't know. I think the operations in Gaza are a lot more dangerous. I think, I don't know, haven't they killed tens of thousands of people so far? And the war's ongoing, so after everything is done with, the casualty counts, the numbers are probably going to skyrocket.
A huge one? Okay. What's the next step?
Yeah, but Israel's going to send most of their troops to Iran, and then they're going to like totally forget about this little population of Palestinians.
For meat?
I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're still going to...
They're going to take over the
attention to Gaza.
Yeah, they're going to take over the Palestinians.
When are they going to have a Victory Day parade in one of the roads they build throughout Gaza for like all their new settlements and stuff? When are they going to have a parade for all their settlers in northern Gaza?
For the next 50 years, not having any nuclear threats from...
Tonight, Israel was still striking across the country. This explosion filmed in West Tehran. Others reported at nuclear facilities in Esfahan and Fordow. Israel says Iran was...
So if you strike a nuclear facility, so have you seen fuel depots, oil like facilities and so forth that are struck by explosives and like fertilizer plants? Have you ever seen them like bombed and so forth? Those are some pretty big explosions. So I have a feeling that when it comes to some kind of nuclear facility, do you think those explosions are going to be much more lethal, create a lot more collateral? The blast radius is probably going to be a lot larger.
Could be pretty bad, John.
Only one way to find out.
Drop a bomb.
Building a nuclear bomb. Too big a risk, it said. But Iran may now decide that negotiations won't protect it from attack.
Well, to be fair here...
A bomb. Too big a risk, it said. But Iran may now...
At least he has all his limbs and he's not a skeleton.
Yeah, but
negotiations won't protect it from attack.
He can be a
will.
I don't think this is the most dangerous attack Israel has conducted, because I think every week there's multiple attacks in Gaza where there's a bunch of parents crying and holding their dead children.
Alerts have been lifted for now in Tel Aviv, but Israel's attack isn't over. There's a drone just flying above us here, and the threat, of course, hasn't gone as well. Israel's Prime Minister tonight
had
a message directly for the Iranian people, saying Israel's fight was not with them, it was with their government. The time has come, he said.
No. Children are kind of annoying. You have to like feed them and take care of them.
My joke dirt? Like it?
Yeah.
If only Shab had kids to grieve.
Yeah, I'm jealous.
Imagine a YouTuber adopting kids just to have them die.
What the fuck? West Philadelphia.
Said to stand up for your freedom from the evil and oppression
On a
of
graveyard
And that strengthens
where they
you. There's
spent
some
most of
people
their
here
days.
that Benjamin Netanyahu's
Dad, don't make me kick you.
goal is not just to dismantle Iran's nuclear program, but its regime as a whole.
Whoa.
Thanks so much, Lucy Williamson, there in Tel Aviv. Let's assess the situation in Jerusalem as well. Our correspondent Ione Wells is there. What's the latest where you are, Ione?
Run that back. Sorry, your your microphone wasn't on. We didn't hear
What's
the
that?
first. She was muted for like the first 5 seconds of her speech. Poor girl.
So I believe, remember that one explosion? It was in Beirut where there was a fertilizer plant or whatever, and somebody like lit a match. And I think it was a silo that had all of this fertilizer in it. And that was like 4 years ago.
Yeah.
Oh, the health minister.
See,
yeah.
The enormous
They had
of what appears to be a secondary
fertilizer to help
explosion.
people at the hospital.
It could well be the first explosion because it may have been a fire just before it, but
Hell, people at the hospital. Are these
just getting
plants or
reports
are
actually
they
that there
they
was a
people?
fire first,
Are they
and
need
then
fertilizer?
Well, Shab.
What?
explosion.
I was doing a crow
just
joke.
show viewers.
Yeah, that's why you got the horn.
Yeah.
This is the explosion from a different angle, and again, it just
It's a crow
shows
joke.
how,
Crow wrote it for me.
whether that's the first
No.
explosion or the second explosion.
Yeah.
So here's a gas plant that was struck in Russia by Ukraine.
On the night of February 3rd, a drone attack took place on a gas refinery in the Hashratkin region of Russia. Local Telegram channels reported this. Ukrainian-owned kamikaze drone struck the gas refinery. As a result, an explosion and fire occurred. There were no reports of casualties. The plant is one of the main energy facilities in Russia, producing gas.
Okay.
January 18th.
This video does a
major
bad
attack
job
in
at
Saratov
showing
region
the
on January 14th
explosion.
disrupted the work of Cristal Oil Facility in Engel City.
Their coverage is terrible. But anyway, people thought that a nuke actually went off because of how large the explosion was. But what do you think would be worse? This gas explosion, that fertilizer explosion, or an explosion from a nuclear generator?
How big of a nuclear generator is it, John?
Don't know exactly. I guess I need more intel from the government.
Explosions and
Do your
bangs. Now, it's not clear
research,
if those
Gene.
were the sounds of strikes or interceptions by Israel's defense system. Israel has said that the
Amateur.
majority of drones and missiles that were fired by Iran were either intercepted or fell short. Now, minutes before that, we had all received this emergency alert. Sirens were going off here in the same way that they did at 3 a.m. this morning, urging people to go to shelter or remain very close to them. This was after Iran confirmed that it was launching retaliatory military strikes on central Israel after a series of Israeli strikes on Iran today. Now, for now, that emergency alert...
No, Nicholas Rosa. I don't endorse poisoning the water supply. I endorse lacing the water supply with sedatives. So they can.
Minecraft.
Well, no, in Minecraft. So all the people take a nap and then they go in and apprehend the bad guys.
No,
With no fatalities.
He doesn't want to. He doesn't want to taint the water supply. He wants to enhance its nutritional value by adding LSD.
It's for the good of the
get
people.
the entire country high on LSD, and instead of tear gas, just bombard the area with laughing gas, and then send in troops of gas masks and put all the bad guys in handcuffs.
No, he doesn't want tear gas. He wants laughing gas. So everyone's happy and no one's crying. And
I like that. I support laughing gas canisters instead of tear gas canisters.
Well, you know those planes that are designed to fight fires? They just fly over and like spray the entire area.
No,
with
that's
water.
that's chemtrails.
Oh yeah, but they will do that with like agriculture and so forth. So I'm thinking, what about just a plane does that, but it's laughing gas? They fly over, spray the area, then they go in and apprehend the bad guys that are hiding.
Decided people are being urged to remain cautious, but as the last
Ahmed says, Gene's solution to world hunger is to feed hungry children to hungry children.
Sounds about right.
No, I don't endorse that.
Ahmed's our number one fan.
Well, this
I
isn't
like
the
that.
first conflict between Israel and Iran, but it's the most explosive. The risks are huge. Our security correspondent, Frank Gardner, is here. Frank.
Well, Jane, this conflict is bigger, more extensive, and potentially more dangerous than anything that's gone before. The targets hit range right across Iran. It's the biggest assault on that country since the Iran-Iraq war in the 1980s. One of the principal targets was Natanz, around 200 miles south of Tehran. Tonight, the UN's nuclear watchdog says it's been destroyed. It was Iran's chief uranium enrichment facility. That's a process.
So, what do you think will happen if somebody bombs another country and it causes a nuclear explosion because it destroys a nuclear power plant? So no one actually launches any nuclear weapons. Do you think that might provoke countries to be like, holy shit, somebody dropped the nuke, we got to push a button and launch our nukes?
It's probably going to be in the Middle East.
Mine.
Like I said, we probably should.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
They're like, sorry.
Say, like, holy shit, we need to nuke ourselves before they get
accident.
us. Before they nuke us. That's what. Hurry! Hit the self-detonate button. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we need to nuke ourselves to be like, it wasn't us, it was them.
We gotta
tonight.
False flag nukes.
Also hit
exactly
so that we don't lose in the end. It was self-destruction. It's not a loss. Just like Hitler, he didn't lose.
Yeah, he fled to Antarctica or the moon, one of them.
No, he just Minecrafted himself. That's just a reset.
No,
button.
he didn't.
Can't lose.
That's a
if you hit the reset
conspiracy.
button.
He went to his sci-fi Nazi bunker in Antarctica.
Whoa.
Eastern city of Kermanshah. New footage of Israeli airstrikes.
Oh, you know what really sucks, John? Are you an animal lover?
Yeah.
You know what really
animals
sucks?
do you make love to?
No, it's not even a joke. It's not even a joke.
Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. Go on.
But
Go on.
so in the bunker, supposedly Ava Braun took cyanide or whatever, and I'm not going to say his name, but Adolf was like, well, I kind of don't want to go that way. So he gave a cyanide pill to his dog, a German Shepherd named Blondie, and supposedly he was a very big animal advocate.
Oh.
And yeah, so Adolf took the cyanide pill after his dog died horribly and was like, I ain't gonna go that way.
After so instead of having everyone drink the Kool-Aid or the Flavor Aid, take the cyanide.
Yeah, and he took the cyanide pill and was like, my dog went out bad. And he's like, I'm not going out that way. So that's why he supposedly or conspiratorially, yeah.
But Chad, you've never heard the conspiracy theories about the Nazi city bunker in Antarctica?
Yeah, I heard that's actually where Tupac is too.
Yeah. Jim Henson's also being held there.
Across the country. On top of this,
and if Diddy doesn't get
Diddy's gonna join him soon. Yeah.
No, that's the cover story. He's gonna get Epstein in prison, and then that's when he's actually gonna get taken away to the Antarctic underground base.
Well, somebody mentioned Ahmed mentioned Argentina. Yeah, like a lot of Nazis did flee there, but I don't think Hitler made it.
Oh, what do you think about what's his name? The goddamn Angel of Death.
Mengele.
Yeah. Because like in Argentina, there's a village that just speaks German, and like 90% of their population are twins. And Mengele did a shit ton of experiences.
Yes.
Yeah, shut the fuck up.
Go ahead.
But Mengele did a lot of experiments on twins, and in this little like fucking Germanicana. I don't know what the fuck you want to call it.
He liked sewing twins together. He liked making identical twins.
Yeah, he wanted to sew identical twins to each other.
Do you think he had some weird fetish there?
Yeah, definitely.
It's just, he's like, oh, I'm doing experiments for the state. It's just finally my chance to like role play my weird kink.
Revolutionary Guards Corps, Major General Mohammad Bagheri, head of Iran's armed forces, and Brigadier General Amir Hajizadeh, the head of the Revolutionary Guards Air Force. Also targeted at least 6 nuclear scientists. So how is this being viewed by the Iranian public?
The mood in the country is really divided. Some people,
But there's also conspiracies that the Nazis have some headquarters on the dark side of the moon.
That's a very like, I don't even believe that. I believe in some conspiracies. I don't even fucking believe that.
They are angry, they're furious.
See, some people think it's, so easily disproven because, well, there is no dark side of the moon. The moon rotates, right, John? That's the thing. But there's always a portion of the moon that is covered by darkness. So, see, it's not a military base on the moon, John, but it actually orbits the moon, but it stays on the dark side of the moon 100% of the time, John.
So the Earth is flat, and if you know the truth about the flat Earth, it's actually a wall of ice that's Antarctica. So the opposite side of the flat Earth is this giant Nazi superstate. And the world's leaders don't want people to know about it. So that's why they prevent people from passing the, the Nazi ice ball. Yeah, the Nazi has ships there and stuff to stop people from getting through. And all the stuff going on in like Israel and Ukraine, that's just a distraction.
There are some other Iranians, those who've been repressed and
keep you trapped in the firmament
for decades by the Iranian regime. They are quite happy that the top Iranian Revolutionary Guard commanders are killed.
Now, back in 2015, Iran was enriching uranium to just 3.6%, enough for civil nuclear power. Today, it's 60%.
Oh, ice ball. Yeah, Game of Thrones did have an ice ball. I hate Game of Thrones.
Did for a bomb. But
fuck you.
Trump, close ally.
What? It was stupid. Sorry, Crow.
Did you like read the books?
Oh, is it like that? Like Star Wars? You gotta read the books and understand its greatness. All the plot holes and shit, it's because you didn't read the books. Because that means the show or the film adaptations are well written.
No,
and there's a bunch of broken dynamics of the plot that you need to read the books to actually get.
It's always going to be like that because, like people that like read the books, like with the Harry Potter and whatnot, and then they watch the movies, and then like they interact with people that just watched the movies. Like
I read the books. There was one page. The entire page was just describing a woman's vagina.
Yeah, and I
literary art, John.
Yeah, and
you couldn't use that many words.
Vagina, Gene. I bet you can't.
Yeah, I bet you would. No. You'd use 2 sentences to describe a woman's vagina, Gene.
Have you read my? You've read my book.
Yeah, I get it. We're really good at describing.
Describe a vagina in your book.
Do you think if I wanted to? How meticulous do you think I'd be if I really wanted to sexualize a vagina?
Would it really hit like when George R.R. Martin spent 2.5 pages talking about a vagina?
I don't know, but I found it to be kind of boring and lackluster, his descriptions.
I never read it.
Fucking John's book is like, it looks like an Arby's fucking roast beef and cheese. And there might have been one hair or two, but she tried to shave her best.
She expelled the most odorous queef.
Good one.
Yeah.
Forces to the Middle East amid fears that Iran could hit US bases. And there's another risk that Israel's operation could even backfire.
The military strikes from Israel are likely to expedite the thinking inside Iran about the fact that a nuclear bomb is the only real insurance that the Iranian leadership has.
Oh, Abed says I'm wrong. You didn't. So, are you saying I'm wrong about the part of the book where it spends 2 pages like describing a woman's vagina? I don't know. I'm just not a big fan of fantasy.
Against
I'm
I'm
more
not
into
big-
sci-fi.
Yeah, sci-fi where this girl's vagina was just like super wet and was into me.
Nah, nobody gets pussy in sci-fi novels, dude.
You haven't read a lot of sci-fi.
That targets the core of the leadership.
There's
So
a lot
look,
of
in
green
purely
pussy
tactical
in
terms,
there.
Israel.
I don't know. I just read Atlas Shrugged, and there is a lot of like narration about sexual activity.
Which, don't forget, is a nuclear power.
With
Has
aliens?
achieved military success. It struck deep into
What's
Iran.
that?
With aliens?
No, Atlas Shrugged.
Oh, then it's not. Well, I meant. Never mind.
See, you know what's
Between,
funny?
Taggart, I forget her name, something Taggart, and James Reardon. They have a lot of romance with each other.
And assassinated
See,
top
you know what's funny is like some of the people that come in, we're talking about politics. They're like, "Oh, fuck you, liberal," but now we're talking about like sci-fi pussy. They're just like, "Oh yeah."
Triggered.
They're just like they have an opinion. And it's
Yeah.
like-
This isn't the Pedantic Pedestrian Book Club. Let's
I
talk
know.
about Iran here.
It may well now race to
Iran.
build a bomb, setting off a nuclear arms race across the Middle East. Jane.
Thank you, Frank Gardner. Well, Israel's attacks come as the US and Iran are trying to reach a deal.
Yeah, how did we get here?
Game of Thrones. You just
Yep.
have to talk about Game of Thrones.
Oh
John.
yeah.
Yep.
Oh, we were talking about the ice ball with the Nazis and everything, and
Yeah, well,
Tehran's nuclear program. Talks are meant to resume.
I
this
think
weekend.
Crow brought up Dr. Mingala.
President Trump has urged.
You said Nazi.
Is off tonight.
Oh.
The other.
With that breaking news of war breaking out.
Never mind.
The
Shut
attempt
up.
to navigate some
I'll
sort of
shut
peace
up.
between Israel and Iran took 60 days of staggered
Shut up,
negotiations. And on
Gene.
day 61, Israel went to war. Friday morning, Israeli time. A huge attack by Israel. Bombers focused on what could hurt Iran the most, where it stores weapons and nuclear facilities, and the network that houses its commanders. Iran says 78 people were killed, more than 300 injured by Israel. Today, Iran struck back with rockets. 41 Israelis were wounded. The Trump administration saying the U.S. had nothing to do with the Israeli attack. That was last night. This morning, the president was asked about it, and he said, no comment. Tonight, some are asking,
No comment.
is there a winner when so many people are killed? But some others are suggesting that Israel is thinking this is the way to end the Iran leadership. We're going to start our coverage tonight with NJ
It is the way.
Burkett.
Yeah, Bill, the Israeli prime minister spoke
Do you
directly
know
to the
the
Iranian
way?
people tonight saying this fight is not about you. So yes, this is about more than the Iranian nuclear
No.
program. It's about destabilizing the regime. But for the moment, the regime is launching missiles and Israel is under attack.
So destabilizing the regime, I think blowing up or launching bombs on a country is more likely to create unity. You're creating a unified cause for the people.
Iranian counterattack lit up the skies over Tel Aviv tonight.
But it's the
It happens a
iron.
lot during civil wars between two nations where a foreign power invades and then they declare a ceasefire to cooperate during the invasion. That happened in China. They were having their civil war and they declared a ceasefire during World War II to fight against the Japanese.
Missile
But the Israel has the Iron Dome, and they get bombed. So apparently, the Iron Dome doesn't protect everything.
flames were seen from some buildings.
So Trump wants to do the Golden Dome, and then in the same way, all these military states need to one-up each other. So they dropped the Moab bomb, and then Russia created the father of all bombs. There needs to be a platinum dome. And then somebody needs, like, what's more valuable than platinum? I guess diamond. You need, like, the diamond dome.
The Diamond Dome. That would have been way better. If Trump would have called it the Diamond Dome, I like the
Yeah.
alliteration there. I'm not saying it's a missed opportunity. It's not too late. You can call it the Diamond Dome.
No. I agree with Trump's decision to call it the Golden Dome because he likes golden showers. Never been proven, but speculated. I guarantee you. No, I agree with that.
Overnight, Israeli military commanders launched an unprecedented attack. Waves of bombers targeting Iranian nuclear facilities, the nation's ballistic missile
I have half a beer left.
control network.
Fuck.
Missile strikes
Prove
killed
it.
Iran's top generals and war planners. The Iranian government said an unknown number of civilians were killed when missiles struck residential neighborhoods in Tehran.
That looks more
The
like
attack was years in the making and executed in
60%
secret
of a
last night.
beer to me.
Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu said Israel faced an
70.
Iran launching a
68.
You can see.
Oh, damn. Yeah, that's more
Okay.
than half.
God damn it. Brian said Thunderdome.
Fighting out Tel Aviv sky as Iran launched new retaliatory strikes against Israel. Israeli defense forces say Iran launched less than 100 rockets.
It's another one of those stupid, one of your dead.
Iran retaliates, hitting populated centers in Israel after Israel unleashes airstrikes that have left Tehran's military leaders dead and key nuclear facilities crippled.
Yeah, let's get right to Sandra Mitchell. She's in our newsroom tonight. She's been tracking all of this. Sandra?
Rick, right now that situation really escalating. More explosions in Tehran and Tel Aviv, where right now it's just after 4 o'clock in the morning. And we have this ominous warning from a senior Iranian official. He was saying that it will target any country that defends Israel, and that could, of course, include the United States.
So I know France and Britain recently called out Israel, telling them that they have to stop obstructing aid. So even Europe's been getting on Israel lately, but I don't know. Do you think Canada supports Israel?
Yeah.
Now, I live right near the capital, so they're threatening the United States. Do you think they might nuke our capital?
Nah.
I'm scared.
Well, it's a good thing Israel bombed their nuclear facility, so now I don't have to worry about them attacking our motherland.
You can sleep at night safe,
Air raid
John.
sirens blast as people in Israel are warned to take cover in bomb shelters.
We got all these like infiltrators from the south invading our country. I mean, they've clearly infiltrated the country and they've gone into like our political system because they've been obstructing Trump from building the wall. It was supposed to keep them all out, and now I got to worry about this. I mean, will we ever be safe again?
You know,
the Israeli
people don't know what it's like to be a white male in the United
Brian in the
States.
chat makes a good point. You just get a bunker. It's that easy, John. Have you just considered getting a bunker? Why didn't you think of that sooner, John?
I do live in the city. I think I'd probably get in trouble digging like into my property and stuff. I might get risk of hitting a pipeline or something. Or a gas
Move,
line.
John. Duh. It's that easy. Sell your house and then get a house where you can dig.
Well,
Just gonna move
John,
to Alaska.
No. One of the big bunker cities, quote unquote bunker cities, is in my town, or not my town, my state. How they want to do it, I don't fucking know. But yeah, they used to be missile silos that got turned into bunkers.
Yeah.
God damn it, John! Shut the fuck up.
I feel like a lot of
move to Uruguay.
I feel like a lot of established cities that have been around like since World War II have some form of fallout shelter.
No, but the Midwest has gone. They've built a shit ton of silos, military silos. During the Cold War, they got decommissioned, and especially in my state. I mean,
Have you seen the show Silo?
Yes, I have. But
we need to build a Voltec sort of city.
yeah, one of the decommissioned silos has in my state, which was near to me when I went to high school, became a bed and breakfast.
So I want to create, I don't know, an underground sort of skyscraper city state. And I'm going to have a Snowpiercer sort of system where the first class, everyone's on top. They're right near the entrance and exit. And I need to create some religion to scare everybody from like leaving the underground skyscraper city.
military confirming tonight a new wave.
And the people at the very bottom are all like mutants and stuff. There's like a chemical leak. So in the bottom two,
that's you.
In the bottom two floors. Shut up. The bottom
Why am I in the
floors.
lead?
Yeah, the bottom two levels are just like abandoned, and they've been living there for like decades, living on their own like vertical fungus farms.
Oh, living off each other's feces.
A few miles.
Oh, Shabisky wants me to be the lead on the feces. Okay.
Yes. You should be
I'll
the
do it.
first one to eat feces.
Yeah.
The Iranian regime has clearly.
I like how I'm trying to make this intricate joke, and Shab always makes it about feces.
stated its goal to
Isn't Shab the best comedian?
destroy Israel. We will not sit and wait for its intentions to become actions. This is not
Gene
just a
gets
threat
it
to
now.
Israel.
a nuclear-armed Iran would pose a grave danger to regional and global stability.
Late today, projectiles intercepted
It's
in the sky with the
official.
sound of
Most of the
explosions.
people that watched us today are fucking idiots. Here's the. I'm ending the poll. Well, just take a look at that fucking poll.
54%.
I may as well
367
ask, are you
votes.
a fucking
Jesus
idiot?
Christ.
And 53% answered yes. 46% answered no. They're not an idiot.
Well, again, I brought this up many times. You guys do know that the mass majority of a group that burns American flags are the
Boy Scouts.
Boy Scouts, yeah.
Yeah.
Why is the
I know,
dumb, Teddy? Why don't you like? I'm sorry. What? Go on, Crow.
No, go ahead, John.
So, what do the Boy Scouts and the Catholic Church have in common?
A lot of they're
They do a lot of
religious
no-no stuff.
organization.
Jerusalem, and plumes of smoke blanketed Tel Aviv. The Iran state news agency.
So, do you think a lot of no-no stuff is equivalent to being right-winged?
Yeah, kind of. But hey, it was the left that supported slavery. It's the
Are you trying to
Republicans
say-
that freed the slaves. Yeah.
Are you trying to say that a lot of people who project this pious attitude and holier than thou are probably just trying to project some sort of character while they hide skeletons in their closet?
Yeah.
What if it's a gay skeleton, Gene? You think there's any of that?
Maybe.
Oh.
But here, I'm starting to develop a migraine, and I don't think I'm providing the best commentary this stream.
Hold on.
So we did cover everything. So
Teddy
I think
says-
maybe what's that?
Can I cover Teddy's question? Teddy's question is, why do Boy Scouts burn flags? That's because they retire old flags, and that's how they honor old flags. So, I mean, the Boy Scouts of America burn more flags than any other group. That's how they retire the old flags. So it's not
They also
sedition.
wrap the flags up in a bunch of contraband and no-no stuff and burn that too.
Yeah.
And they can also totally be trusted with your children.
Yeah.
Mr. Sir Fluffy said, I am right wing, but voted no. And see? Shows that you shouldn't make assumptions about every belief that a person has just based on their political affiliation.
Amen.
But
read the book.
I'm ready to end it. We've done 3 hours. We've covered everything in the title, and I think tonight I'll probably be down for another PPP.
All right.
I'll be down with your mom. All right. Hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, guys. And peace out.